Sorry. You can make them now? No. No, it's not. Right. So it's like hang out there.
صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وسلم. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much everyone for joining. For those of the new guests, inshallah, we're here for the Shamail Muhammadiyah. This is our teacher, Sheikh Hassan. If you're a youngster, you know, inshallah, may Allah be with you, may Allah accept for all of you. If you have registered and you didn't check in at the desk, during a break time, inshallah, please come by and come to the desk, the taxi desk outside, and just check in, inshallah. Or give your donation of $30. Really would appreciate it, inshallah. For everybody else, I'm going to go ahead and hand you off to Sheikh Hassan. Jazakallah khair.
Our praise and thanks are due to God for so much attachment and peace be upon his messenger, his family and companions. Very nice to see you guys, alhamdulillah, everybody, and students as well. Very nice to see you. So bismillah ala barakatuh. We'll continue reading inshallah. We stopped just for the people who joined us when we read the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So treat each other just like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was with us, right? Inshallah. So do your best, inshallah, to listen attentively, to pay attention. If you have your phone, put it away and just listen attentively for a couple of moments, inshallah. Okay? Now, Bismillah, حدثنا محمد بن بشار حدثنا معاذ بن هشام حدثني أبي عن قتادة عن أنس بن مالك قال كان أحب الثياب إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حبراه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد النبي وآله وأمهات المؤمنين وذريته وأهل بيته كما صليت على آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Anas ibn Malik said, the apparel dearest to Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the hibra, a striped garment of Yemenite fabric that he used to wear.
The clothing is used to it's made of fabric, the stripe. What he found he wore sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the clothing that has been accessible, not overly expensive. That doesn't mean that Prophet did not wear anything expensive. He used to have used to have, time to time, he would wear something that is very expensive. So حدثنا محمد بن غيلان حدثنا عبد الرزاق حدثنا سفيان عن عامر بن ابي حيث عن النبي قال رايت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول في الحمراء كاني انظر الى بريق ساقيه.
We have a picture of it.
Yeah. Straight.
Sufyan al-Thawri told us that Aun ibn Abi Juhayfa said, and his father said, I saw the Prophet ﷺ wearing a red garb as if I were looking at the sheen of his legs. Sufyan said, I think it was a hibara.
ما رأيت أحد من الناس أحسن في حلة حمراء من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن كانت جبهته لا تضرب خيرا من منكبيه. ولد حديث حدثنا محمد بن بشار حدثنا عبد الرحمن بن مهدي حدثنا عباد الله بن اياد عن ابي عن ابي عبده قال رايت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عليه بردان خضراء ولد حديث فوق. حدثنا عبد بن حميد حدثنا حماد بن مسلم حدثنا عبد الله بن ابي عمرو بن حسان عن طريق عن النبي عن بحيره وعليه عقيله بنت مخرمه قال رايت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وعليه اسبال وليتين كانت من زعفران وقد نقضته.
Kayla bint Mahrama said, I saw the Prophet ﷺ wearing the tatters of two sheets which had been dyed with saffron, but had lost their color.
Mostly the Prophet would wear things until they wear out. Wear things until they wear out. So it was seldom that he would get something new. Just because there were a lot of people who are new to Islam around him, a lot of people are poor around him, so he would give them whatever he has. We have multiple hadith where the Prophet was gifted something that is beautiful, and he would see somebody who was poor, and somebody poor and destitute, and would give it to him. He would give it to them. And he had the new clothes that he kept for when delegations come. When delegations come to meet with him, he would dress up, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He would wear things that are new. But that would or for the Eid, right? Or for the Jumu'ah. He would keep his better clothes for those events. But most of the time, Prophet was wearing just like what servants and slaves wore. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's what he wore. It wasn't anything special. حدثنا ابو سعيد بن سعيد حدثنا بشر بن فضال عن عبد الله بن عثمان عن خيثمه عن سعيد بن جبير عن ابن عباس قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عليكم بقايا من الثياب يلبسها احياء وكفنوا فيها موتاكم فانها من خيار ثيابكم.
Ibn Abbas said, Allah's Messenger said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you should require white clothes so that your living ones may wear them, and you can shroud your deceased in them, for they are among the best of your clothes.
The Prophet loved white, to wear white, but he wore all kind of colors. It was reddish, he read, green, and he wore that which was available in his culture, okay? And most of the fabric and textile at that time would be made in places like Yemen or places like Byzantine Empire or some places like Persian Empire. And when they come from those places, they were the clothing of the Byzantine, the clothing of the Persian, clothing stuff. He wore those. He had no problem wearing those. We're going to see that around. He wore. It's a Bukhari Prophet wore. We're going to see it later on. He wore something that a cloak that Yahya al-Kalbi brought to him from the Byzantine Empire, which means that Christian used to wear. It was described to have its sleeves tight, very, very, very tight sleeves. Right? And he wore it until it was worn out. It was worn out. He wore it until it was worn out. He loved it, and he wore it until it was worn out. So the idea that there is Islamic wear, Islamic dress, the idea of Islamic dress, one has to be, what's Islamic about in dress is nothing other than the principles that guide it, not not the shapes or the forms of it. It's the principles. It has to cover your aura. It has to be decent. It should not be the clothing of those who are the iniquitous, the fasiqeen, the people who are, known to sin and so on and so forth. That's it. It has to be shara'i, it has to be shara-wise, following the sharia. It has to be, modest and good. That's pretty much it. But is there an Islamic garment? No, there's no Islamic garment. When Islam went to places like, India or Abyssinia or places like Indonesia or places like, Russia or China, so they took those principles that we talked about and they fashioned them according to their culture. That's that. So the idea that is, I have to wear just like the Arab wears, no, and that's Islamic, no, that's not Islam. There's no such thing as Islamic, dress up, unless what we mean by it is the principles, not the. Right? Does it make sense? So that's the idea. As long as it follows the Sharia, as long as it follows the guidelines, alhamdulillah, whatever, that's good. Right? And you pay attention to the cultural, acceptance, which Sharia has to be expected, that we have respected. At the same time, it has to be, if you are in a place where it's funny to wear clothes like this, then probably whatever in a place where it's okay to wear, not to draw too much attention to yourself and so on and so forth. It doesn't make sense. I remember it was 9/11. It was 9/11. This idea of clothing brings tremendous amount of it was 9/11. It's like the first week of 9/11. This brother is coming to our majlis. We used to have a majlis in Boston, and he's coming to majlis. He wearing this bright Moroccan, jilbab with the hood and all that. And he's putting the hood in the subway. I said, brother, such and such. He said, well, that's my Islamic was dress up and I don't really care. I said, it's not that you don't care, you don't care. There are sentiments in here that are extremely high. If somebody hits you, you brought it to yourself. You brought it to yourself with all due respect. If somebody hits you, right? Imagine if this had happened to you in Morocco. Imagine 9/11 or something like this just happened to you in Morocco. You see the people who just done it. Oh, and they're so proud, so going out with their. What do you think? What would you do? What would people do? You see, people are, they have an understanding that is higher. They have don't push them. Don't push them on people. Be considerate. Be considerate. Right? He didn't get it. He did not. He was upset with my acceptance. So, alhamdulillah, that's fine, no problem. But at the end of the day, one has to be culturally aware. He follows the Sharia, sure. It has some cultural resemblance to the place where you are, cultural respect to the place where you are. That's extremely important. In the masjid, we're all good, alhamdulillah. But outside, one has to pay attention. It's for sure, one has to pay attention. حدثنا قتيبة بن سعيد حدثنا بشر بن مفضل عن وليد حدثنا محمد بن بشار حدثنا عبد الرحمن بن مهدي حدثنا سفيان عن حبيب ابي ثابت عن ميمون بن ابي شبيب عن سمرة بن جندب عن سمرة بن جندب قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم البسوا ضياء الاناء اطهر واطيب وكفنوا فيها موتاكم just like the previous hadith. حدثنا احمد بن منيع حدثنا يحيى بن زكريا بن ابي زائده حدثنا ابي عن مصعب بن ابي شيبه عن صفيه بنت شيبه عن عائشه رضي الله تعالى عنها خرج رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات غداة وعليه ملك من شعر اسود.
Aisha radiallahu anha said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went out one early morning wearing a wrap of black hair.
It's mostly, most probably it's hair of the camel. They used to have the hide of the camel, they take all that hair and they used to make fabric out of it. And that's something that is extremely The thing you can say about that is that it is very, very, very harsh. It's very harsh. It leaves a mark. It will leave a mark on you if you wear it between it and your skin. It will leave a mark on you. And so the Prophet ﷺ wore that, which probably was a cold night or so. People wore that at a cold nights and so, but it's tough. It is tough on the skin. The idea in here is that the Prophet was not chasing luxury. The Prophet was not chasing luxury. He was not just chasing luxury. That was not what excited the Prophet. And you see a lot of our, because while he's not chasing luxury, because he does not define himself with his look. He does not define himself with what he wears. Does not define himself with what he drives. He does not define himself with where he lives. He does not define himself. That's not what defines him. The problem with us is that, the problem with our culture is that every single thing we want to project to the world, every single thing the way we want to present ourselves to the world, the way we want to impose ourselves to the world, just say, wiggle our spot in the world, is through what? Through whatever we drive, whatever we, our abodes, our clothing, and so on and so forth. Right? And that's why you see people spending this much amount of money, this much amount of because of that social status. The phone that they have, so on and so forth. It's not because of functionality and utilitarian reasons. No, it's for status, more than it's for status, right? And the Prophet was not that person. These are personalities that most of the time have a lot of issues. You tell me, well, it means that the whole world has issues. I said, yeah, absolutely, the whole world has issues. Right? That's the truth. Right? The Prophet ﷺ wants something else to define him. Right? Dress up nice, well put, organized, easy on the eye. At the same time, it doesn't have to break the bank for that. It doesn't have to create, right? And one thing we're going to talk about later on that is extremely important. This is something that we talk about all the time. We mentioned some of it yesterday. The Prophet ﷺ adopted the ways of the poor. Right? In what we call liberation theology, they speak about the preferential option of the poor. Preferential option of the poor. What's that? It's imagine who sets the tone in consumerism right now. Who sets the tone for to consume? The rich. The rich, right? That's the truth. People look at what LeBron wears and they wear. Right? People look at what, the Kardashians wear and they wear. And they sell them those things. Right? And they sell them. They become people they set the tone for the fashion. They set the tone for what is vogue, what is acceptable, what is good, and what is so. So they set the tone. Right? And when the rich people set the tone, you see society always running behind. Always running behind those guys. Always running behind. You understand what I mean? Everybody is running behind. Why? Because when the rich people set the tone in culture, or set the tone in fashion, or set the tone in what people consume, they go according to their abilities, right? And because luxury breeds that, like we buy this and we buy that, and we get it for luxury, and you have to change, and you have to change, and you have to so on and so forth. And they set the tone in that way, and the whole society is chasing them. Seriously, even in the way they look once. When we're watching, my family was watching some soap opera or whatever. So, and those women, they all want to look like the Kardashians. What's up with these people? They laughed. I told them, they all want to look just like them. Seriously. what's going on with this culture that they set the tone. It's normally when they set the tone, the purpose is to create followership, to create people to follow, to create people to do things like that, right? Why do you think the fashion is changing every single year? Every single year they're putting things, everything they're putting stuff, everything they're putting stuff, right? They want people to follow, and it's a statement, and it's a statement of values. What people consume is a statement of values. What is the priority for them? What are the priorities for them? What do they want? What's important for them in life? Are you with me? Fashion is a statement of values. I'm serious. You guys, I'm not sure if you guys pay attention or not, but probably say that the state knows a lot. But I don't know if you've ever, who ever watched The Devil Wears Prada or Praga? Huh? Obviously, right? Obviously, right? Obviously, right? No? You've never seen it. Have you ever seen The Devil Wears Prada? Yes. You know what I'm talking about? So she was talking to her, Meryl Streep was talking to that girl and she told her, see that blue thing that you're wearing? Do you know who fashion is for you? Do you know who you have? You went to Target and you just grabbed it from the shelf and you think that? No, somebody thought of this for you. Somebody had curated for you. She gave her the whole philosophical view on that blue that she's wearing. This is why they've done it. These values behind it. Right? So don't you think that, this is just something that Kylie Jenner is wearing. Yeah, let's follow what, what's her name, whatever. Gomez did, whatever, all of those, that one and the colors, the fashion trend, right? They're all standing in the fashion trend, they're calling, come on in here. Right? come on, Cardi B. Seriously? Right? They set the tone. Values behind that. There are values behind that. Right? So imagine, I want you to pay attention to this, imagine if it is reversed and it's the poor who set the tone and the whole society is following. Society values will be different. We will not be chasing to change fashion every single year. We'll not be chasing to change things and to just luxury that benefits only the rich. Right? You go to some places and they'd rather buy a LeBron with like $800 than fix the walls of their house. Really? That's how it is. Malcolm X, I spoke about it, and when it comes to the fashion of the African American ladies regarding their hair.
And men.
Huh?
And men.
And men. You know what I mean? So, you understand what I'm saying? Fashion is the way you present yourself matters, and what is it that you're doing? So, one of the things that the choices of the Prophet ﷺ do, they're not just personal choices. I want you to pay attention to this. There is no such thing as a personal choice of the Prophet. There are no personal choices. But imagine when the Prophet ﷺ, whatever he wears, whatever he eats, is the fashion that everybody wants to emulate him. Society will not be in a frenzy chasing the rich. He had a ring, right, of gold that was given to him. He looked at it one day, he was given to mom. He looked at it one day and he took it out and said, فَأَلْقَى النَّاسُ خَوَاتِمَهُمْ. So people threw their rings, their golden rings, they gave them for the sake of Allah. So imagine the Prophet was for those who never had it. Everybody who saw him have a ring of gold, everybody wants to have one. They would go hard to get one because the Prophet had it. So what does he do? Make it easy on people. Take it out. Right? This is when we shift society shift now is we follow the ways of the poor. This is where society starts paying attention to something else. Start paying attention to something else. Then to elevate, to pay attention to the core of the human being, to serve the core of the human being, not to chase the habits of the rich, because it destroys. It creates consumer who is unaware, creates consumer who is simpleton, creates consumers who are right. then it gets to society to be a place that is not a good place. You know? So this is just a few things to think about, right? So we hear, oh, the Prophet was wearing, things that are worn out, or things that are extremely simple, very, very simple. It's not just a personal choice, right? It's a statement for the whole society to follow, right? And our values will not be in what we wear, what we drive, and so on and so forth. You can drive whatever you want. Whatever you want, your value is not that. We're not going to respect you because you drive whatever you drive, right? Or you didn't even mention. That's not what makes you a good person or a bad person, right? You won't have a say in society and the public affairs because you have a Tesla. Who cares? You understand what I mean? You will consider your opinion because other things than just the appearances, and that's actually important to pay attention to. Does it make sense? حدثنا يوسف بن عيسى حدثنا وكيع حدثنا يوسف بن ابي اسحاق عن ابي عن الشعبي عن عروه بن مغيرة بن شعبة عن ابيه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لبس جبة رومية بينة الكمين. We don't do hadith of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم justice when we render every single thing individualistic about the choice of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. When we fail to interview the hadith properly. You understand what I mean? We read this hadith profession more something, harsh on the skin in the morning, and that's that. Then we move on, oh, this is what this shows, and then we move on. No. What does that mean? What does that mean in that society? What is the statement the Prophet is doing? What does that mean to me now? How is that helpful to me now? How is that important to me now?
Urwa ibn al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah said that his father said the Prophet ﷺ wore a Byzantine robe with narrow sleeves.
There we didn't say, oh my gosh, this is the dress of the kuffar, I'm not wearing it. You understand what I mean? He did not say this is the dress of the kuffar, I'm not wearing it. It's fine. He wore it, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. No problem. Right? It was gifted to him by Sayyidina Dihya radiallahu ta'ala. باب ما جاء في كفر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Chapter on the stand on the leather sock of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. حدثنا همام بن سريح حدثنا وكيع عن جبر بن صالح عن حجير بن عبد الله بن بريدة عن أبيه النجاشية عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خفين أسودين ساد الرجل في السماوات ثم تودعوا مسحالين. I want to say something else. I don't know if Sheikh Hassan is here. But I want to say a few words in here about the fiqh of the leather sock. It's just some people get up in arm about wiping over the sock. I don't know. I'm not going to make it upset, but it is what it is. We're here to. True. Some Ramadan will say there are Ramadan will say the leather sock that you're going to, the sock that you have to wipe on has to be in leather. Right? Sure, no problem. Right? But if the Sahaba wiped over socks that are made out of cotton, absolutely. And that's the opinion of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas. That's the opinion of Sayyidina Ali. That's the opinion of so many Sahaba. And that's the opinion of so many Tabi'in. So when you say to me that, I cannot pray behind you because you wiped over your sock, wouldn't you pray behind Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas? Would you pray behind him or would you not? I'm asking. People are too tied up to the madhab in ways that are unhealthy. Madhab is good. Right? But consider that there is differences and those differences have values as valuable as your madhab. Does it make sense? Does that mean that if I pray Asr at 5 o'clock, my salat is batila? Wouldn't you pray with me for 2 hours here and you're going to pray by yourself and I'm going to pray by myself? Right? And the Hanafi time is at 6 and the Jumhur time is at 5:20. So you're not going to pray with us to Jama'ah because you're going to pray by yourself so you can keep the Hanafi time. Seriously? See, the way we think is not right. Would that help the Prophet? Would the Prophet be happy with an act of yours like this? No, not not praying with you, it's not Hanafi time. And you're going to pray by yourself. How does this work? We're in a Jama'ah, we pray at certain times, sure. But there are circumstances where ما عارف خلاف، إذا قاعدة أصول في أصول ما عارف خلاف. It's important to understand the opportunity of America that has this pluralistic view and it has this diversity view, and we have to accommodate this diversity, right? And within the Hanafi madhab there are differences, and within the Maliki madhab there are differences you will not imagine, right? So are you going to, no, I'm not wiping over, or I'm not praying behind such and such pious persons with all the criteria of Imam, he wiped over his sock. Well, it's not Abbas wiped over his sock. It's not blood, Umar wiped over his sock. So wouldn't you pray behind them? I was asking, wouldn't you pray behind them? Said not blood, Abbas comes in and he wiped over his head and said, oh, I'm sorry, I can't pray behind you because Abu Hanifa says so. With all due respect to our imams and our love to them and our reverence to them, I am the sand on which they can stand. Like, with all due respect. That's what I feel. Right? But here in the 21st century in America, with all the diversity, we have to have a little bit of understanding. So we can apply the Sharia in a way that doesn't become contradictory, doesn't come clashing with each other. You're not in a society that's cohesive in matters of madhab. Right? And I wish, inshallah, that there's somebody who's written about this in most beautiful, not a modern scholar, an early scholar from the Andalus. His name is Sheikh al-Mawaq. He has a book called Sanad al-Muhtadi. He talks about this point particularly. You go to Morocco and you get to a village in the corner of northern Africa, you go to India, you go to a village in which everybody prays with their head down. So pray with your head down, it's fine. No problem. You go there and everybody puts their hand under their belly button, go ahead and pray with you. You have with them at that time, you don't create a fitna. Right? Sometimes you take with the opinion that all the Sharia, all of that is Sharia, all of that is acceptable. All of that is within As-Sunnah wal Jama'ah. All of that is within As-Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Right? باب ما جاء في خبر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. حدثنا عن ابي السري حدثنا وكيع عن ذكر وصالحنا عن حجير بن ابي هريره عن ابي النجاشي اهل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خفين اسودين ساذجين فلبسهما ثم توضا ومسح عليهما.
Ibn Buraida said that his father said, the Negus, the emperor of Ethiopia, gave the Prophet ﷺ a pair of plain black shoes, so he put them on, then performed the minor ritual ablution, wudu, and wiped over them.
What's the name of Najashi? You remember? I remember the name of Najashi. He was a Muslim and the Prophet was not praying janazah on him. Something in Ashama? No? Check. Aslam bin Ashama or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And the Prophet, when the news of Najashi came that he passed away, the Prophet prayed on him. Prayed janazah on him. He is the one who gave the sadaq, gave the dowry of Sayyida, the daughter of the daughter of Abu Sufyan. She was in Yemen. She was in Abyssinia. The Prophet married her. Habiba, Abdullah bin Abu Sufyan. Yes.
The name was Ashama ibn Abjar al-Najashi.
Ashram.
Ashama.
Ashama ibn Abjar. Najashi is like a title. Najashi is not his name. Najashi is a title, just like Caesar or Khosrow, or it's a title. أهدى به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خفين فلبسهما وقال إسرائيل عن جابر عن عمرو وجبة كلتهما حتى تفرقا لا يدري النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أبوكي هما أم لا؟
Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah said, Lihya, a notable companion of his, gave the Prophet ﷺ a pair of plain black shoes, so he wore them. And Israel said, on the authority of Jabir, on the authority of Amir, he also gave him a gown, so he wore the shoes. So he wore the shoes until they were perforated without the Prophet ﷺ, knowing whether or not they were made from the hide of a lawfully slaughtered animal.
Yeah, he brought them from Byzantine Empire. He did not know the Prophet wore those leather shoes. Not ask him if the leather was what is that leather to begin with. He did not ask what is that leather. That's one thing. He did not ask what that leather was, of what animal. And he did not ask if that animal was slaughtered properly or not. He was given those leather socks, he wore them, and that's it. And that is not adab from it. Right? You don't ask, don't tell. You know, don't ask, don't tell. Fine. Don't ask, don't tell. That's good. Yes?
In general, though, when it comes to wearing leather, is it supposed to be sourced from like a halal slaughtered animal, like ideally, or is it?
Here it is, the Prophet didn't ask.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's a Prophet passed in Khilaf. This is a Khilaf of the Prophet passed by sheep that was dead, and he said, "Why couldn't you use this?" He said, "Well, it died on its own." He said, "Well, you can take its hide and utilize it. هل ننتفعوا بجلدها? Could they use its skin for what they want?"
So we can go as far as to play football. With the pig skin.
Is that what they made for?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Okay? I just didn't hear it. What is it? Repeat again? Okay, don't say it. I didn't hear you. Sidna Umar, somebody, Sidna Umar was passing by a street. It's in Al-Wata, he was passing by a street, and some people were washing something from on the roof. They have a gutter. So while Sidna Umar was passing with his friends, the flush of water came out of that gutter and showered them. So one of them said to the guys at the top of the roof, "What was that water clean? Was that water clean?" Sidna Umar said to him, "Don't answer him." He said, "Don't answer him." It's like, "What's your business? He was clean. Let's go." You know what I mean? Well, it's fine. You don't need to know. That's what he said. You don't need to know. Just keep on going. Right? So there's one thing if you read, this is something again. I'm just gonna. If you read the early books of Sunnah, the early books, read the Abi Shayba, read the Muwatta, right? You're going to realize one important thing is that the Sahaba were laid back when the generation came after that. The generation came after that were tight. Right? A lot of them were tight. Men and women. The Sahaba were laid back. Right? They were laid back. Look at this. You could find tons of things like this. That the Sahaba were much laid back than the generation that came after them. Why? Because the generation after that came in and wants to regulate. And if you want to regulate, you want to make sure, what does regulating mean? Regulating means that you're going to draw a line between this and that. When you draw a line, you have to make something in and something out. So you have to be detailed and you have to be so. The Sahaba were not that way. The Sahaba were not that way. In matters of fiqh, they were laid back. I'm serious. Read, don't take my word for it. Go ahead and read the early books of Sunnah, and you're going to see the opinions of the Sahaba, especially the books that contain the opinions of the Sahaba. They will look back. باب ما جاء في نهي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. حدثنا محمد بن بشار حدثنا أبو داود قال حدثنا همام عن قتادة قال قلت لأنس بن مالك كيف كان عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لهما قبالان.
Qatada said, I asked Anas ibn Malik, how were the sandals of Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? He said, they had two thongs.
They had two laces. They had two laces, right? Can we? Yeah, there they are. This is the sandal of the Prophet sallallahu. This is the shape of the sandal of the Prophet, right? It used to be like this. There's stories about, we can say stories about the sandal. Sandal has a lot of stories, in the history of Muslims. There's a moment where there's a moment in Islam where the symbol of Islam was the sandal of the Prophet ﷺ. It was not the crescent. The crescent came with the Ottoman Empire. Right? The crescent came with the Ottoman Empire. The sandal was the symbol of Islam. حدثنا أبو كريب محمد بن علاء حدثنا وكيع عن سفيان عن خالد حداء عن عبد الله بن حارث عن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما كما إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قبل أن مثلا شرح وحدثنا أحمد بن منيع ويعقوب بن إبراهيم حدثنا أبو محمد الزبير حدثنا عيسى بن الرحمن قال خرج إلينا أنس بن مالك عليه الرداء وإلى الله قبلاني وقال حدثني ثابت بعد أنهما كانتا عليه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. So most of the hadith in this chapter are the same, right? They're all the same. Now, let's read the hadith. Keep on coming down. It's going to be probably 70, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be 80 or 81. Everybody's following? Yeah. Ahmed ibn Maryam. A little bit before that, probably. Yeah, إسحاق بن موسى. Yes, this is it. حدثنا إسحاق. Are you guys following? Okay. حدثنا إسحاق بن. We're going to start skipping a little bit right now. We're going to read the hadith or two from every chapter. Okay. Just the hadith or two from every chapter. Then we'll go on. حدثنا إسحاق بن موسى الأنصاري حدثنا معه حدثنا مالك عن أبي الزناد عن الأعرج عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: لا يمشين أحدكم في نعل واحد لينعلهما جميعا أو ليحفيهما جميعا.
On the authority of Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Let none of you walk in a single sandal. Let him wear them both or take them both off."
See, Aisha disagreed with this narration. She said, Abu Hurairah did not understand the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She disagreed with him with this. Normally, we see that Aisha disagreed with Abu Hurairah. We follow who? Aisha, why? But in matters of things that are outside of the house, we go with what the men say. Because they were with him outside of the house, most of the time. But no, and more, because see that Aisha was faqihah. See that Aisha was a jurist. Abu Hurairah was good, but he was a narrator. He narrates. She had more understanding than him, for sure. She was more scholarly than him. See, Aisha was more scholarly than Abu Hurairah, for sure. And see, Aisha corrected so much of the Sahaba's understanding of the hadith. Imam Bayhaqi has a book on Darakat Sayyida Aisha al-Sahaba, like the correction of Aisha on the Sahaba. Narrations that they narrated that whether they misheard or misunderstood. And she corrected them on the Allah. But in this particular hadith, we don't go with her. We go with Abu Hurairah. Why? Because there are multiple narrations, not just from Abu Hurairah, from Jabir, from others, that the Prophet said to them, if you have your shoe laces were cut off, don't walk on one shoe on your foot and the other shoe on your hand. And the other foot barefoot. Make sure that whether you wore them both or you take them both, whether you wore them both or you walk barefoot in both of them. Right? This is not it's recommended. It's not a obligation. It's not obligation. حدثنا إسحاق بن موسى حدثنا معنا عن مالك عن أبي الزبير عن جابر أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى أن يكون رجل بشماله أو يمشي في نعل واحدة. Prophet did not like or prohibited that a person would eat with their left and would walk in one shoe. Eating with your right, you do your best to eat with your right. You will work hard, but I don't think I can't. You do. The Prophet talked about this multiple times. It takes the barakah out of you, and so on and so forth. Well, I'm used to. Well, get used to. Get used to eat with your right and follow the sunnah of the Prophet. There's a man who came to the Prophet who was eating with him and starting with his left. He said, eat with your right. He said, I don't know. I don't know how to eat with my right. He said, try it. He said, well, I don't know. And the Prophet said to him, May you never eat with him if you want to, right? But that's it, he could never eat with you, right? And he was asked Prophet against him, he said, yeah, Allah, kibr in his heart. What prevented him is nothing other than kibr, pride. It's not that he could not, he just pride, he did not want to, out of. And we have to be careful what preventing us from following the Sunnah of the Prophet. Right? There are two reasons, there are two things here I want to have to pay attention to. There is time where, there is instances in which we're unable to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet out of weakness. Okay? Out of weakness. We're all that person. Sometimes we are able, sometimes we are not. We ask Allah to forgive us, we ask Allah to, right? Some sunnah we do, some sunnah we don't. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us, and we do our own best, and we pray to Allah ta'ala to make us among those who are striving to follow the sunnah as much as we can. Am I right? But the danger is when you start having an opinion on the sunnah. I don't like that sunnah. That's where it is the razor to your faith. It eradicates faith for you. That's what the Prophet, that's what kibr, that's what you put the sunnah against, like, I know better. I know better. That's I know better in here. That I know better destroys the faith of the human being. You don't have the barakah of what you pray, the barakah of this. You lose the barakah. And one has to pay attention. Right? As I say, well, show me the verse about hijab. Well, even if I show you the whole Quran is about hijab, you're not going to follow it because the way you're talking is not that somebody wants to follow the hijab. Somebody wants to find a way to say no to the Quran. Does it make sense? No matter what I tell you, hijab has never been an issue until modern time. All books of fiqh, Ummah never had the issue until modern time, when the West started imposing its ways on us. And so on and so forth, just a lot of things. Not just the hijab, a lot of things. Now show me, well, it doesn't say. Now you're a scholar in philology of Arabic. Right? It says clearly, you understand, it's clear. Well, we can interpret it this way. Well, show me in the books of tafsir from the first century until now who said that this is the exegesis of this verse, or tafsir of this verse. Nobody said that. You're going to start inventing. Why? Because you don't like that. And that's the problem. That's the problem, that when we start acting with the Quran, with the Sunnah in that way, we are not in a good water. Right? That stream of thought can lead to kufr. That stream of light can lead to worshipping of the self. You want God to follow what you want. You don't want to follow what Allah wants. You want God to say, oh God, why did you do what I'm telling you? الله السلامة والعافية. حدثنا قتيبة بن سعيد حدثنا إسحاق وحاب حدثنا إسحاق بن موسى حدثنا معه حدثنا مالك عن الزناد عن عائشة بن واسع بن حفص مسلمة إذا انتعل أحدكم فليبدأ بيمينه وكان زعما فليبدأ بالشمال فتكون اليمنى أوله ما تفعله وآخر ما تنزع. This is for everybody, guys, and young ladies, and everything the Prophet said. When you wear your shoes, start with the right foot. When you take your shoes off, start with the left foot. Who's going to apply this in their lives from now on, inshallah? So when you take your shoes off, when you're about to put your shoes on, how do you start? With the right foot. And when you want to take them off, where do you start? Why are you doing it? The Prophet ﷺ did it. It is barakah with the right. Are you guys with me? Alright, so let's do it, inshallah. حدثنا this hadith before. حدثنا محمد بن مرزوق وسكت واحد. حدثنا محمد بن مرزوق ابو عبد الله حدثنا عبد الرحمن قاسم بن معاويه حدثنا هشام بن محمد عن ابي هريره قال كان لجعل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خلالان وابي بكر وعمر رضي الله تعالى عنهما واول من عقد عقدا واحد وعثمان رضي الله تعالى عنه.
Abu Hurairah said, the sandals of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam had two thongs, and as did those of Abu Bakr and Umar. May Allah be exalted, be pleased with them. And the first one to tie in single knot with Hassan. May Allah be well pleased with them.
A lot of things start changing at the time of Sayyidina Uthman. Especially, Sayyidina Uthman ruled for how many years? It was for 12 years. The first 6 years were fine, the second 6 years, so much changed. A lot of things changed. Socially, a lot of things changed in Medina. Tremendous amount of change happened culturally. Muslim said that. He said, whoever lives after me, سيرى اختلافا كثيرا. We see tremendous amounts of change. So culturally, what people, the habits of people, the way they eat, the way what they dress, what all of that changed. Well, tremendous change from how it was. But why? Because now, because of the expansion of the futuh, the expansion of the land of Muslims, and so many cultural, so many ethnicities came to Islam, and so many cultures that are so deep and cultivated became Muslim. All of that was brought to the center of Islam, which was Medina at that time, and they changed the habits of people. The way what they were wearing, the liveries of Byzantine Empire started coming in, the stuff from Persia started coming in, and then there's tremendous amounts of change. And Sayyidina Umar was like a gate that was stopping all of that change to happen. When Sayyidina Umar died and Sayyidina Uthman came in, it was too much to be, it was too much, right? So a lot of things started changing in Medina, right? And at the time Sayyidina Uthman, so many of the Sahaba left Medina. Sayyidina Umar made sure that a lot of Sahaba stayed in Medina. They wanted to leave. He said, no, there's no way you're leaving Medina. You stay with me here. You stay with me here. The purity of Islam is strong because of you. The strength of Islam Medina as a model for all the cities that have been opened because of you over here. When you leave, when you're all leaving here, people are going to come who don't know much about Islam, who don't know. Even Arabic changed. Even Arabic started becoming, at that time, watered down because of the people who came in. Most of them did not speak Arabic. And there are many narrators and hadith who are the greatest narrators who didn't know much Arabic. Right? Nafi, the servant who said Abdullah bin Umar, didn't know much Arabic. He had an accent, like a thick accent. Ikrimah, the servant who said Abdullah bin Abbas, had a thick accent. And so on and so forth. That's now Muhammad himself. So I wanted to come to this hadith just look at the change that happened. Don't you think that things stayed the way it was from the time of the Prophet? No, it changed quickly right after. When things change quickly, there's a lot of things that change with them. The perception of religion, the political things, and so on and so on. So much stuff changed. Right? So much stuff changed. Right? And that has an impact on how people start the religion and practice the religion. Chapter on the ring signet of the Prophet. The first hadith, the Prophet had a signet that had a ring from silver, and its gem used to be black. The second hadith is the Prophet عن أبي بشر عن نافع بن عمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خاتم من فضة كان يختمه فيه ولا يلبسه. That the Prophet had as a ring from silver. He used to sign with it. He used to stamp with it, and he was not wearing it. In fact, he was wearing it sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the ring of Prophet used to be of silver. And the hadith here, the third hadith, we'll read two hadith here and then we'll stop. We'll read two hadith here, and then we go to the next chapter. حدثنا اسحاق بن منصور حدثنا معاذ بن هشام حدثني ابي عن قتاده عن انس بن مالك قال ما ارى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ان يكتب الى العجم قيل له ان العجم لا يقبلون كتابا عليه خاتمه الا كتابا عليه خاتمه فصنع خاتمه فكان ينظر الى ضربه في كفيه. When the Prophet wanted to send letters to the kings of the people from non-Arab kings, they told him they would not accept a letter except if it's sealed. There is a seal on it. So somebody made him a ring that has a seal in it. The seal was Muhammadun in one line, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasul in one line, and then Allah in one line. We have right in here. So Muhammad, Rasulullah. You read it from bottom up. Why is it bottom up? Because he doesn't want to put his name first at the top and the name of Allah at the bottom. So he puts his name at the bottom and he places the name of Allah at the top. Right? So this is the signet of the Prophet. This is what he was to sign with. don't think he was like this, because for this one in here to stamp like this, it has to be reversed. Am I right? For it to stamp, to write it properly, has to be reversed. Does it make sense? It's just a. So this is so we turn the page on. We go to the last hadith of this chapter. حدثنا اسحاق بن منصور عن الله بن عمير حدثنا عبد الله بن عمر عن نافع بن عمر قال اتخذ رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خاتما مباركا فكان في يده ثم كان في يد ابي بكر ثم كان في يد عمر ثم كان في يد عثمان ثم وقع في يد اريس نقشه محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Ibn Umar said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam chose a signet ring of silver, so it was in his possession. Then it was in the possession of Abu Bakr and the possession of Umar. Then it was in the possession.
The Prophet wore his ring. He would put the gem inside. He would put the gem inside. He does not put the gem in, so he would put it inside, right? You show me that he would turn it and put the gem inside. So the signet of Prophet was in his hand, and then it was in the hand of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, and then it was in the hand of Sayyidina Umar, and then it was in the hand of Sayyidina Uthman. So one day Sayyidina Uthman was in the well of Aris. Do you know what Bi'r Aris is? Somebody knows what Bi'r Aris is. The well of Aris. The well of Aris is a well that is still going on in Quba. In Quba, in the Masjid of Quba, right? If you go back to the door of Quba, right? And you look to the parking, so the main gate of the Masjid of Quba, right now. You go back to it, right? You look front of you before there's the stairs. Right in here, there's the parking, and right in front of you here, there's some palm tree. There's a palm tree. Used to be. This last time, I think there used to be a lot of palm tree. There's a little shack in there or something. They put a little wall, metal wall in there, covering something. That which covered is the well of Aris. The well of Aris is still going on. They built around it. They covered it, but the well is still there. The well was still there until the 18th century. You'll find it. He's urging his fatwa. The prince, the governor of Medina, who was the king, this guy, Salman, to eradicate their enemies and to make it a parking. Because those Ajam, that's what he says, because those Ajam, those non-Arabs, and so they go for it for barakah. That's what he says. Those Ajam are going for it for barakah, they're worshipping it, and they're doing this, and so we stop the shirk and so on and so forth. And I'm glad he listened to him. I'm glad he listened to him. You can say whatever you want about those guys right now. They're doing horrible stuff and so on. But they're coming back to those history of the Prophet ﷺ, they're reviving it. This is something that they're doing right now. This is true. People hate a lot of things that they do, and I do. But one thing that they released is that they are taking care of all the areas and all the historical sites of the Prophet ﷺ and the companions. And they are fixing them, they are making them nicer, and so masajids and so on and so forth. And there is a non-governmental entity that worked hard on making those. So now you go to all those places and they are well put, they're nice and so on and so forth. And there is some history about them, and so I'm just talking about their history. Whether it's masajid, whether it's gardens, whether it's and so on and so forth. And so much of that, had been hidden because they don't want the understanding of the understanding of some of the Wahhabi views of Islam to destroy them, because they were destroying everything. They destroyed so much of the history of Islam in Arabia, so much in the message of the Prophet ﷺ. All the houses of the companions were in the masjid, and nothing is there to say. There are wells that used to be the Prophet used to drink from close to the masjid of the Prophet. Now they're part of the masjid. So much of history in that masjid. You have no idea. All is flat right now. All is this, all is that. What's remained that it has names in it, and it has some marking that tells about the history of that place, is all from the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire did a really good job. There are maps of the Ottoman Empire that shows exactly where everything was. This is the house of, this is where Abu Ayyub al-Ansari's house when the Prophet came to Medina was. This is where Abu Bakr's house. This is where Sayyidina Umar's house. This is the, and so this is the Saqif al-Banu Sa'ida. This is, all of them are marked in Musa. With there's an app called Hislo. 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 Right? Hislo. Alright? And you go to the app, and here you put whatever place in there. See that, you see, for example, the monument of Medina. It tells you all the things and the exact place according to the maps of the Ottoman Empire. And it tells you where the Prophet used to go. This is the Baqi at the time of the Prophet. So it's cool. It's very cool. So we're talking about Bir Aris. Aris used to be a Jewish person. And the Prophet used to go to Bir Aris. He would sit down in there. There was a garden in there. He would sit down in there. And he would drink the water. And he would dig on his feet on the well. The well was a shallow well. It was not a deep one. It was a shallow, it's a couple of meters, probably 2-3 meters. And there was water in it. And he liked the area. It was the shadow. When he goes to Quba, the Prophet used to go to Quba every week. The Prophet used to go visit Quba every week. He would go on Saturdays. He would go to Quba sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He would walk to Quba, right? He would walk to Quba or ride to Quba, right? So, it has a tremendous amount of history. He gave great time to the companions in Bir Aris. Tremendous amount of history in Bir Aris. I don't want to erase it, right? So, Sayyidina Uthman was in his caliphate, 6 years through his caliphate, he was sitting, he goes back and he sits down in Bir Aris. Remember the days when he sat down with the Prophet. So one day, he took his drink to give it, and he gave it to his servant. His name is Muhakim, so he can make wudu, right? So the servant took it. While Sayyidina Uthman was making wudu, the servant fumbled that ring, fell into the well. Sayyidina Uthman said, go down, go get it. They looked for it for 3 days. They couldn't find it. As I said, the well was shallow. They looked for it for 3 days, they couldn't find it. It was a sign for, Sayyidina Uthman understood, it was a sign for trouble to come. Now there is trouble to come. And indeed, the last 6 years of the Caliph of Sayyidina Uthman were troublesome, or had a lot of issues. So that's باب ما في جاء في تختمي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. حدثنا محمد بن how the Prophet from the shop. How the Prophet used to wear his ring. He used to wear it in his right. Right? He used to wear it in his right, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mostly, and sometimes he wore it in his left. And that's why Sayyidina Hassan and Sayyidina Hussein used to wear their ring in their left. Right? So there are books about Imam Ibn Jawziyya had a book about Khatam al-Islam. باب ما جاء في صفة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. We have one hadith in here, inshallah. Or two. حدثنا محمد بن بشار حدثنا وهب بن جرير حدثنا ابي عن قتاده ان انس قال كانت طبيعه سيف رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في الطائف. That's the pommel. The pommel of the sword of the Prophet used to be out of silver. The pommel is the little thing that the round thing that comes out of the sword, right? It comes out of the sword. And then we skip to the last hadith on the chapter. حدثنا محمد بن شجاع حدثنا ابو عبيده الحداد حدثنا عثمان بن خالد عن سيرين قال سنه سيفي على سيف سمره بن جندب وزعم سمره انه صنع سيفه على سيف رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وكان حنيفيا.
Ibn Sirin said, I made my sword in the shape of the sword of Samura ibn Jundub. Samura also claimed that he made his sword in the shape of the sword of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for he was a Hanafi.
Hanifi from the tribe of Bani Hanifa. Hanifa is the tribe of Muslim al-Kadhab. Do you know what I'm talking about? Muslim al-Kadhab, we've heard. Muslim al-Kadhab is the false prophet that popped up right before the Prophet passed away. He sent a letter to the Prophet and he said, God made me associated with you in this matter. He sent a letter to the Prophet and said, God made me be an associate with you in this matter of revelation. As the Prophet Muslim said, he said that the matter is of Allah's matter. He gives it to whoever He wants, but you are just a liar, right? And Allah Ta'ala will reveal what you are. And Allah will reveal what you are. Then after the passing of the Prophet ﷺ, you know that there was a lot of issues with the Arab tribes. Some of them Islam was not deep in their hearts. They start preventing Sidna. There were two types. They call them the war of apostasy. Apostasy war. Apostasy wars, at the time of Abu Bakr, there were two types of wars. There are two types of wars, right? There were people who were Muslims, but they had a better understanding that they were far, that, the Prophet ﷺ passed away. We go back to our tribalism. The one that we give the allegiance to is past, we give it to ourselves. We're not going to give zakat to the central government. There is no such thing as central government. We're Arabs, we have tribes. We don't get ruled by anybody. We're going to, it is what it is, that's what it is. So Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Abu Bakr said absolutely not. I am going to fight for the concept that Prophet Muhammad built, the concept that Ummah, we're going to. The manifestation of that concept was the zakat. You give the zakat to the central government. Whoever doesn't give me that which they wish to give to the Prophet Muhammad, I'm going to fight them. There's two stages, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and Sayyidina Umar could not fathom that Sayyidina Abu Bakr is going to fight people who say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And then Sayyidina Abu Bakr grabbed Sayyidina Umar and said, Akhawar, Ajabbar fil Jahiliyyah, Khawar fil Islam. Are you a tyrant in Jahiliyyah and a coward in Islam? Or Umar? I would not let these people go get away with it. They're going to destroy Islam. Sayyidina Umar reminisced after that. He said, every Muslim all over, whether they are now or whoever is going to come, is indebted to Abu Bakr. Because nobody wanted to fight those guys except him. And he said, if we did not fight those guys, there will be no Islam. He said, everybody is indebted to Abu Bakr because there will be Islam if we did not fight them. That was the right thing and we did not see it. He was wiser than us. Right? And he put his foot strongly and said, we're going to fight those guys. And they listened to him, they obeyed, they listened to him, and then they got it later on. That was one part. The second part is the apostates indeed. The people followed the two false prophets that came afterwards. There are two of them. One of them is Muslim al-Kadhab, and the other one is Sajah. Sajah came from Yemen, and they married together, and they got their armies together, and they were so close to Medina. They were closer to eradicate Islam. You have to understand that Sayyidina Abu Bakr war. Sayyidina Abu Bakr ruled for 2 years and some, not even 3 years. There were all wars, until he subdued Muslim al-Kadhab, and until he subdued those apostates. That's all he did, radiallahu ta'ala. And boy, we are so indebted to Sayyidina Abu Bakr, radiallahu ta'ala. We're all indebted to Sayyidina Abu Bakr for the Islam that we have. He fought hard. Medina was circled, and his time was about to lose to Muslim al-Kadhab. You guys don't understand. Why? Because Muslim al-Kadhab was from Banu Hanifa, and Banu Hanifa were the toughest fighters, and they have the greatest weapons, swords. They make great swords, and they were the reservoir of Arabia of crops. Are you getting me? They had crops. They had Yamama. Yamama is a fertile land that has tremendous amounts of crops, and it was a reservoir of Arabia of crops, right? And they were great fighters, and they were great makers of swords. The greatest of swords were made by Banu Hanifa. So it was tough to defeat them. By the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala, who defeated them. So many Sahaba died in Hurr. So many of the memorizers of the Quran died in Hurr. So many people of Badr died in Hurr of apostasy wars. So we are so indebted to all those sacrifices. May Allah Ta'ala accept them for all of what we. So that's when we say Hanifi, the sword was Hanifi, was made, the sword of the Prophet was Hanifi, was made from Bani Hanifa. The Prophet was the best sword. That's what he meant. The Prophet was the highest, the greatest sword. Chapter on the shield of the Prophet. We should stop somewhere. There was our kind of finish with. Read one hadith here. فنا أبو سعيد عبد الله بن سعيد الأشج حدثنا يوسف بن بكير عن محمد بن إسحاق عن يحيى بن عباد بن عبد الله بن الزبير عن عبد الله بن الزبير عن الزبير بن عوام قال كان على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يوم أحد درعان فنهض إلى صخرة من المسجد حتى طلعت تحته وأصاب يد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حتى استوى على صخرة فقال سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أوجب طلحة.
Az-Zubair ibn al-Awwam said, the Prophet ﷺ wore 2 coats of mail on the day of Uhud. So he tried.
Chain mail is what medieval or armor. They used to wear those armors like this. He had 2 of them on the day of Uhud. Why did he have 2 of them? Because the Prophet knew what's going to happen. The Prophet ﷺ knew what's going to happen in Uhud. He actually warned them, starting his dream, he warned them, let's not go out to fight these guys. Let's stay in Medina and fight them street fights. We know Medina, they don't know Medina. Let's bring them in, reel them in into Medina and fight them in our turf. And the Sahaba did not like it, especially those who did not attend Badr. Because they went for Badr not intending to fight. They were intending just to get caravan and come back, and they end up with the fight and end up with the war. And they were, tapping on their chest to say, let's go fight Rasulullah, we'll go to them and we'll defeat them. So it's like, this is what I've seen in my dream. Guys, listen. They did not want to listen. The Sahaba did not want to listen to the Prophet in Badr, in Uhud. He told them that they made so many mistakes. This is the first mistake that they made. The Prophet said, let's stay inside, bring them to Medina and fight them to Medina. We know Medina, they don't. That's the first thing. Right? The second thing is that the archers did not listen to the Prophet. Right? So, but Allah, this is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala above, before and above everything. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ, they pushed him, and he said, okay. So he went inside, he wore 2 chain mails, and he went out. By the time he went out, he felt bad. We pushed the Prophet ﷺ to do something he doesn't want to do. So they apologized and they came out, they apologized. That's okay, we can do whatever you want. That's okay, let's do whatever. He said, no, absolutely not, but I won't mention no, let's go. That's it. It is what it is. What do you guys want to fight? Let's go. It is what it is. I won't mention no, let's go. That's it. And he gave them حدثنا كان الذي أن إذا لبس درعه أن يضعه حتى يقاتل. There's no way. You put it, that's it. Let's go. Right? The Prophet ﷺ know it. So the hadith in here is that the Prophet was strong. He wore 2 chain mails. Right? The hadith takes so much of the story. This is the story of Uhud. It's hard. It's a hard story. It's a very difficult story. There is a moment where, I'm cutting the story short so we can move on, inshallah. There's a moment where the archers they moved out of their place, when we saw them, they came back, and they sandwiched the Muslims, and the Muslims started being defeated. Right? And the carrier of the banner of the Prophet was Sayyidina Mus'ab ibn Umayr. Sayyidina Mus'ab ibn Umayr looked like Sayyidina Rasulullah. He had resemblance to the Prophet. When he was killed, a lot of people from Quraysh thought that they killed the Prophet. And some of them they just want to saw defeat in the heart of the believers. They start screaming, Muhammad died, Muhammad died, Muhammad died. Right? And now, the companions, when they hear Muhammad died and they are fighting, guess what's going to happen to them? What are we fighting for now? All of the promises that we're going to open Yemen, and we're going to open Syria, and we're going to Islam is going to go over the place, all of that is gone. What's going on with us? What are we fighting for? So some of them said, we're going to fight until we all die. It doesn't matter. If the Prophet died, we're going to fight until then. So it came to the knowledge of the Prophet that the Mushrikeen are screaming, Muhammad died, Muhammad died. How he's going to get the Sahaba discombobulated, they are still getting defeated, they're getting killed, they see this and actually getting killed. How he's going to prove, how he's going to get them to collect back and to know that the Prophet is still alive. Right? And they pushed the Prophet too much, pushing each other until the Prophet fell into the ditch. His helmet went deep into his cheek. They chipped his tooth, not the 4th one, they call them Raba'iyah. Sizers. the incisors. One of the incisors was chipped, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the armor is still deep into his cheek. I mean, the helmet is deep into his cheek, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he's saying, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, كيف يفلح قوم أدموا نبيهم? How could the people who are believing the Prophet, how can they be successful? Right? And he's tired, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because of the helmets, because of the chainmails. And he's in that ditch, he brought him out of that ditch. Now how he's going to make himself known, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told Sidna, they pushed him into a rock on the big mountain now, not on the small mountain, on the big mountain. He's back into the mountain, and he's looking at them, and they're pushing him towards the mountain. So there was a big rock in there, right on the left of, if you put the mountain of the archers behind you, it's on your left, right there. There is a small cave at the top. This is where the Prophet was. He was in that place where the Prophet told Sayyidina Talha to kneel. So he kneeled, he put his foot in his hand, just like an animal, put his feet, and the Prophet climbed on him. And he climbed on the rock. And now all the Muslims can see him. He said, they see him, he called on the believers to come close to him. And he called on the believers, and then they came. And then they see the Prophet is alive, and that he's not dead. And they regrouped. Right? They regrouped. When the Muslims saw that the Muslims started regrouping, they stopped. They said, okay, we defeated them, we can so many of them, let's just go. Some of the people say, no, let's just eradicate them. Abu Sufyan was wise. He said, look, they are like a wounded lion. If you go to them right now, they're going to kill us all. There's no way these guys are going to leave without not a good fight, without a serious fight. We got them, we're going to bite out of them, they're really good, let's move on. Let's be happy with that. We won this battle, let's move on. You stay in here and you're going to die. You stay in here, you're going to be defeated. These people are not going to keep making this mistake again. They're not going to make the mistake twice. Let's go. And they left. That's how the battle ended. The Prophet ﷺ called all the people after Uhud, all the people who fought in Uhud, to come back, to come back and to try to go back against the mushrikeen. By the time the mushrikeen knew, they left. They don't want to have a say on it, no whatsoever, because they knew that the Muslims are coming, they're not going to make the same mistake. They're going to, right? Because the Muslims were winning at the beginning, it was disobeying the Prophet ﷺ that got them to lose. Right? So this is what this hadith is about. The hadith, when you read the hadith, it doesn't tell you the whole thing. So Prophet ﷺ mounted on the rock, but he could not mount on the rock because it was heavy. Because he was heavy, with all the chainmails. But also implicit Talha, and when he climbed onto the Talha, he said, Talha had done something today that guaranteed him Jannah. أوجب Talha. There is nothing that Talha would do that offsets the deed that he had done today. Talha lost his tooth in that moment because this is how he took the helmet out of the cheek. He went with his teeth and he grabbed it. When he was grabbing it, he grabbed it on it too hard with his teeth, and he chipped his teeth. He lost his teeth actually. One tooth completely was out because of that. Right? The Prophet made the heart for him, and he was among the people of Jannah. And this is one of the. So he was wearing 2 chainmails. This is the hadith in here. باب ما جاء في صفة الفرس رسول الله. Chapter on the helmet of the Prophet. حدثنا قتيبة بن سعيد. حدثنا مالك. We finish. We stop. Yeah, I'll stop here, inshallah. We allow people to. We'll do 10 minutes, inshallah. We'll go get some tea and the rest of the day, and we'll come back, inshallah. So what we do, inshallah, we read from every chapter. We read a hadith, inshallah, and see with that in a gas, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. الحمد لله رب العالمين.
مصعب بن عمر. السلام عليكم شيخ. شوف
Sure, sorry. Not mine. Again, I forget يلا السلام عليكم. كيف كان امبارح اللقاء؟ الحمد لله. الحمد لله. في إمكانية ثلاثة. السلام عليكم شيخ الحبيب. ما شاء الله لا تعب ولا ملل كأنك ما شاء الله أول ما
كنت مل من هناك، كنت مل من حديث الحديث عنه هو حياتنا.
السلام عليكم. ما شاء الله مرحبا.
السلام عليكم.
Be right back.
يلا صفر.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Yes, brothers and sisters, come to the main musalla, please. Yeah, coffee break is up. All brothers and sisters, come to the main musalla. Don't bring your tea and coffee to the musalla, please. Cookies. Yeah, mashallah. So.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
Brothers and sisters, please come to the main musalla. So inshallah, our session of Shamail started. نحب أن ندعو شيخنا الخالد الحبيب الغالي يأتي عندنا يورينا وجهه الكريم ثم يدعو لنا إن شاء الله. الحمد لله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين. You know, Sheikh Hassan called me in the last minute, so I don't know what to say, but I'm going to whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put on my tongue, I share it with you. But I remember the story of a Sahabi whose name is Harith or Haritha. When he met with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he said, قال كيف أصبحت يا حارثة? He said, oh Haritha, how do you feel? قال يا رسول الله أصبحت مؤمنا حقا. O Messenger of Allah, I feel like I am a true believer. قال يا حارثة إن لكل شيء انظر ما تقول. He said, be careful about what you say. فإن لكل شيء حقيقة فما حقيقة الإيمان? So that everything that we say or we claim must be proved. So what is the proof that you are a true believer? قال يا رسول الله عزمت نفسي عن الدنيا. I don't feel any attachment to this dunya. فأضمأت نهاري وأسهرت ليلي. And because of that, I spend the whole day fasting. And I spend the night making qiyam. وأصبحت وكأني أرى أهل الجنة وكأني أرى عرش ربي بارزا. And I feel like I can see the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I feel like I can see the people of paradise visiting each other and the people of the hellfire cursing and blaming each other. So apparently, Sayyidina Harith went through a spiritual process, through that companionship with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that made his heart very transparent to feel all of that. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, يا حارثة عرفت فالزم. Oh Haritha, you experience that, make sure that you don't lose it. You don't lose it. And I'm pretty sure that you are all here in the Shamail experiencing something in terms of the connection with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I can see that in the faces of the brothers. I can see that in the way people have big smiles on their faces. I can see that in the warmth that you feel in the whole place. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless this masjid and the community for hosting all of us. And I hope, inshallah, that this Shamail experience is one that will be followed by many. And that's the Arafta Hazan. You explore the Shamail. I would absolutely recommend it that it becomes a practice and tradition in this community, inshallah.
on a yearly basis, whatever it can, I'm saying that, and I don't know how available Sheikh Hassan will be to do that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him strength. I know that Sheikh Hassan is swinging from one place to another, and I know that the source of that energy is the love of the Prophet that he carries in his heart, and that love is not something that can be described through reading the books. You may pick the book of Shamail and read it on your own, but you will never feel that book the same way you feel it when Sheikh Hassan is reading and commenting. And this is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives to whomever He wants and He chooses. And the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitated this opportunity for the community here, it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants that love to become deeply rooted in the hearts. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Shaykh Hassan for that mission here, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, as I said, it becomes a tradition. And as much as I personally love to come and visit, I hope, inshallah, that one day each and everyone in the room can make it to Knoxville, inshallah, to visit TCS Seminary, and to visit the faculty and the students in there, and to get to know them. I would say there's a lot of khair going through this institution, and I specifically invite the parents to encourage their children to become part of this journey. It is indeed transformative, and I'm not just saying that because I am a synthesizer of the experience, but my son went through Taysir for 1 year. My son was on the edge of, losing his purpose. And it was at that moment, alhamdulillah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him to take the decision to go to Taysir for 1 year. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the blessings that came through that 1 year that he dedicated to learn his Islam and his deen and to surround himself with good companionship is beyond any description. And I would invite all our youth to explore that. It is a common practice here that students take a gap year and they go and travel the world. Take a gap year and come to Taysir. I'm pretty sure you will find a lot of responses to many of the issues that are challenging our youth in this time. We would love to host you in there, inshallah, whenever you come. And when I say that, I mean it. It's not just an empty claim. But wallah, we would love to have you, inshallah. And as I said, the ties and the love and the respect and the care that I have for this community is similar to the one we have now for the community in Knoxville, inshallah. And we are one community, alhamdulillah. We are the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Different names, different organizations, but at the end of the day, we are all striving to establish a prophetic community across the United States, inshallah. And I believe that there is a lot of khair in this land that is not available in other places. And we hope, we have to dream high, right? We dream high. We hope, inshallah, that this community in the US becomes a source of a lot of khair for the Ummah of Rasulullah in every part of the world. Allahumma ameen, Allahumma ameen. And we'll make a dua for that, inshallah. اللهم يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين نسألك وأنت البر الكريم. Ask Allah, you are the most generous. Ask Allah to bless everyone in this room, Ya Arham Ar-Rahimin. We ask Allah to increase all of us in the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ask Allah to make us among those who follow His footsteps and who are eager to learn every sunnah of His life sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask Ya Allah to make us among those who visit one another for your sake, those who gather with each other for your sake, those who learn from each other for your sake, those who make dua for each other for your sake, Ya Arham Ar-Rahimin. Oh Allah, as you brought us together in this place, we ask you, Allah, to bring us together, inshallah, in Jannah. around the house of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that He grant all of us a drink from His hand, alayhi salatu wasalam. That Allah, you don't deprive any of us from a look at your face, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Rabbal Alamin, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Ask you, Allah, as you brought us together here without any family ties or family bonds between us, we ask you, Ya Allah, to keep us brothers and sisters until we meet around the house as brothers and sisters. Allah, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Bless this place, bless the community here, bless the management. We bring a lot of khair from this place, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Make it a landmark for the law of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Make the Shamail the first seed that will grow that love and invest in it. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Rabbal Alamin, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Jazakumullah khair. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الحمد لله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى ما جاء في سيرة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Chapter on the health of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. حدثنا قتيبة بن سعيد حدثنا مالك بن أنس عن ابن شهاب عن أنس بن مالك أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دخل عليه إغفر دخل مكة وعليه مغفر فقير له مال المخاطرين متعلق بأسباب كانت القاتل.
Anas ibn Malik said, the Prophet ﷺ entered Makkah wearing a helmet. He was told that Ibn Khattab is clinging to the curtains of the Kaaba. So he said, kill him.
Abdullah ibn Khattab. This is Abdullah ibn Khattab. When the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina, there are only 4 people that he ordered to be killed. 4 men and 2 women. Right? Each one of those guys have a story. One of them is Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl. The second one is this guy here, Abdullah ibn Khattab. Abdullah ibn Khattab was a Muslim. Right? Was a Muslim. This is one of the hadith that those criminals, the Orientalists will go on and on about, oh, look at the Prophet is assassinating people, so. Like he does not respect the sanctity of the house because this man was hanging on. The Prophet was killed, the Prophet ordered him to be killed. It was not there when they were killed, when they killed him, it was not there. He said, whoever saw these 4, killed him. So one of them is this guy, Abdullah ibn Khattab. The second one is Abdullah ibn Abi Salih. The third one is Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl. The fourth one is Qais, something. I don't remember. So what's the story of these guys? Abdullah ibn Khattab was a Muslim. And he was the Prophet utilized this man. He was a Meccan. So many of these Meccan who become Muslim, they needed to be integrated in Medina. And they came, they needed income and so on, so the Prophet would help them. So he would send this man to collect the zakat from the tribes. He would go out to collect the zakat and bring it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So one time he went with his he had a slave or a servant who was a Muslim, and they were traveling to get the zakat from somewhere. And then he told his servant, go. I'm gonna go sleep a little bit. I'm gonna sleep. When I wake up, I want it to be ready. Right? He woke up, slept. He woke up. The servant did not do it, so he killed him. He killed him. He knew that the Prophet ﷺ was going to have capital punishment on him. So what did he do? He ran back to Makkah and became mushrik. That's it. The apostate. And he started making fun of the Prophet ﷺ. He became ardently enemy of the Prophet ﷺ. They say that he's the one who pushed Sayyidah Zainab was pregnant at that time. They were Sayyidina Abbas and was putting Sayyidina Kulthum and Sayyidina Zainab on the camel so they can send them off to the Prophet ﷺ. He pushed them out of the camel and miscarried. But the scholars say فَقَتَلَهُ قِوَةً. They killed him, the Prophet Muslim killed him because he killed a Muslim. He killed a Muslim. So they killed him for that, right? And for apostasy as well. The second one, Abdullah ibn Sarh, this criminal as well. Same thing. He used to be a scribe, one of the scribes of the Wahy, one of the people who used to write the revelations to the Prophet ﷺ. And he was, I remember exactly what's the reasoning behind. He ran back to one of the very few people who ran back to Mecca and became apostate. And he used to say to the people of Mecca, I messed up the revelation of Muhammad. He would tell me, write Aziz al-Hakim, I would write Ghafur al-Rahim. He would change the revelation, thinking that he was the only one who was writing, and that Prophet was only relying on what he writes. Prophet memorizes the Quran from Jibreel, he gets a lot of people to memorize it. Writing was not a mnemonic device, it was just a mnemonic device for people to keep that thing. It was not, the book was not at the beginning of the it was not. People did not rely on the book as we think of a book right now for the Quran. In fact, people had a tremendous amount of suspicion of the book. They used to say, لا تأخذ القرآن عن مصحفي ولا العلم عن صحفي. Don't take the Quran from somebody who relies on his book. It was all memorization. It was all memorization. So he was thinking that by writing Ghafur al-Rahim that he changed the revelation to Muhammad, right? And the Prophet ordered him to be killed. The third one was Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl, and the fourth one was Qais or something. I don't remember why. The reason he was Ikrimah, I don't remember the reason. So there's a lot of stories about him. But see that Hani, one of the people went to Hani and said, give me protection. Give me protection. She protected him. Some people, he only killed two or three of the 6 people, only 2 were killed. Abdullah ibn Khattab is here. He went to the Kaaba, he didn't ask for forgiveness. He went to the Kaaba, he had on the cover of the Kaaba, and the Sahaba, whoever saw him, 2 Sahabis saw him, and they rushed him and they killed him. And people say, oh, look, Muhammad, he has ordered people to be killed. And so, like, when he entered Mecca, how many people were saved by him? The people who were supposed to, right? He entered Mecca. Mecca was in all those enemies of his who killed his family, who persecuted him and all of that. What did he do with them? What did he say when he came to Mecca? What did he say? Huh? Antum al-Tulaqa, go, you're free. So if he's bloodthirsty, what do he do? What did he have done? In fact, as Hassan ibn Mu'adh, when they just came into Mecca, he said, the banner of the Ansar was in the hand of Sa'ad ibn Ubadah when they came to Mecca to open it in year 8. And Sa'ad ibn Ubadah said, this is the day of the bloodshed. هذا يوم الملحمة. This in poetry, this is the day we're going to take revenge of Quraysh. This is we're going to show them all of what they have done to us today. We're going to exterminate those guys. All of them. The Prophet did not like that. He said to him, هذا يوم المرحمة. This is the day of forgiveness. This is the day of mercy. Right? He took the banner from Sidna Sa'd ibn Mu'adh and he gave it to his son. You know what I mean? What you're saying is not, you're just saying we don't want that now. And he don't want to give it to anybody, he gave it to his son to still feel that he had the pride, he kept his dignity and so on and so forth, right? So, if he was bloodthirsty, he would not just have killed 4 people, he would have killed all those guys, all those heads of the Munafiqeen and heads of the Mushrikeen, and all of those guys that persecuted people for years and years and years. He did so on. All Makkah would be running with blood if he was bloodthirsty. He killed these people for reasons. They killed other people. The only one I don't know the reason why he was killed is Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl. The rest, they're all killers. They all killed somebody. And they ran to Quraysh. That's why Prophet killed them. So, just for you to understand, حدثنا عيسى بن أحمد. So this is why the hadith is in there. This is Abdullah ibn Khattab. The Prophet named him this criminal. His name was not Abdullah. No, it was not his name. The Prophet named him Abdullah. باب ما جاء في عنانة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Chapter on the turban of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. حدثنا محمد بن بشار وعبد الرحمن بن مهدي عن حماد بن سلمة حدثنا محمد بن غيلان حدثنا وكيع عن حماد بن سلمة عن ابي الزبير عن جابر دخل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مكة يوم الفتح وعليه عنانة من سيدنا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم entered to Mecca while he has a turban that was black. For this reason that you see a lot of Shia wearing black, especially the family of the Prophet ﷺ. The black one means that they are from the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ is to wear a turban that is black or yellow. He wore a yellow one, where he reads at the last hadith in here of this chapter. And the Prophet ﷺ, sometimes he would wear it in a way that he would put it between his shoulders. The tail of it would go between his shoulders. The tail of it. Sometimes he would turn it around his neck. He would turn around his neck to cover his mouth from the stand or so. So just like the Tuareg. I'm talking about the Tuareg, the people of southern Algeria, northern Mali. People of the desert would cover their mouth from the stand. So sometimes he would do it. He would cover and put his neck. He would get the tail of the turban and turn it around his neck. Next chapter, inshallah. باب ما جاء في إزار رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Chapter on the izar. How do you translate the izar? Izar? Loincloth. Loincloth is the lungi, right? The lungi is like a piece of origin, or we call it in foda, the foda. You know what I'm talking about? Right? It's a piece of cloth that you cover your waist with, right? Just that the Yemeni wear it, the people in India, people in Pakistan, people in Indonesia, they still wear it. This is their, it's just like a piece of cloth there. So, this is what people wear at that time, the simplest of clothing. They just wrap this piece of cloth around their waist. That's like what the desert is cold, it's hot, and so on. And they don't have a lot, right? They don't have a lot of fabrics, a lot of companies of fabrics, and so they wrap that thing around. That's Islam. What you put, just like the ihram, exactly, just like the ihram, just like the ihram. They wear it when they dress up on a daily basis, just like the ihram, right? Really. I'm coming at you. Just like the ihram. They have the izar, they have the cover. Different colors. That's how it was. Yes, Auntie. Yes, Auntie. You raised your hand. Oh, sorry. I thought you raised your hand. Okay. Yes.
I have a question regarding the turban.
Sure.
On a cultural note, I know in some places it's discouraged to wear a turban unless you're a scholar. You're a scholar or someone who's dignified. Is that something that's across the ummah, or is it in certain places?
It's in certain places. Certain type of hangman. There are times in whether the Ottoman Empire or in certain. So you cannot wear a certain type of hangama because it is specified for scholars or office. It used to be just like the uniform of the officials. Certain things you don't wear because the turban of an official in the state or something like that. Right? But in general terms, it's sunnah to wear. Yes?
Regarding the monkey, like at the time the Prophet says, like the Sahaba, did they wear anything underneath the monkey? It was just like a lower garment?
It was just the monkey, it was just that. Something that happened that really came after that. We're going to see some stories, some funny ones. They used to be so poor. There's a hadith about Sidna Zayd ibn Thabit, who was young. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, Zayd ibn Thabit used to memorize the Quran. And he used to memorize the Quran, he used to be a reciter and so a scribe of the Prophet ﷺ. So one day, he was poor, right? So he used to pray in the masjid of his clan, closer to the Prophet ﷺ, the masjid, not too far. He used to be the leader, he used to be the imam of that, right? The imam of that small mosque, right? The ladies used to attend that masjid, right? Because he did not have much. He had this lungi that has some rupture in wrong place, right? So when he made ruku'ah, stuff shows up. So this lady said, "No, I'm not." She took one of part of her hijab and he said, "Keep that, keep that too. You know, let him cover his behind from us because he didn't have, he did not have." To that point, it has a cup worn out at the wrong place. You shower, he sits on that place and starts with one up and one says, "Hey, pray with it." That's what he has. حدثنا احمد بن منيع حدثنا اسماعيل بن ابراهيم حدثنا ايوب عن حميد بن هلال عن ابي هريره عن ابيه قال خرج لنا عائشه رضي الله عنها كساء ملبدا وازارا فقالت غليظا فقالت قول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في هذين.
Abu Burda, on authority of Abu Burda, that his father said, Aisha radiallahu anha brought out to us a tangled garment and a coarse loincloth. Then she said, the spirit of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was taken in these two.
The soul of Prophet, he died in those wearing those one. So the Prophet is to love his izar to be to his shin. He did not like it to be lower than his shin, not touching his ankles. And he said to people, you know, it's better for you to keep it that way because the sign of pride, the sign of ostentation at that time was to wear your clothes and have a tail? Train, thank you. To have a train. Men and women. For women it's okay, it's halal. No. For the men, no. Right? So what is the sign of kibr now? A lot of we have to, what is the sign of that was the manifestation of kibr at that time. What is the sign of kibr right now? Let's stay from it. Let's stay from it. Let's not replicate what Jahiliyyah is throwing at us. You see our kids sometimes with their pants are down and their garments are showing. It's like, what's going on here? No pants, no belts, no. How is that good? How is that nice that you're replicating a culture that you don't even know where it's coming from? Right? And people don't understand that the connotation of that, where it came from the prison in the 80s or late 90s or late 70s, early 80s, from the prison, and that signified something. That whatever he's doing, that is calling people to something. Right? So why would you put that into, why would we become a reflection to Jahiliyyah like that? Make sure, inshallah, whatever we do. Sometimes, well, I'm going to put my pants up over the ankles. Sure, you can do that, but this is not where pride is right now. What is pride is at this moment right now? It is a manifestation of it in clothing and stay away from it. That was the pride at the time of Prophet Muhammad, how it was at the time of Prophet Muhammad. How is it right now? What is it right now? And then you do that, right? The next chapter, inshallah. باب ما جاء في مشية رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. حدثنا قتيبة بن سعيد حدثنا بن لهيعة عن ابي يونس عن ابي هريرة قال ما رأيت شيئا أحسن من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كأن الشمس تجري في وجهي ورأيت أحد أسرع في مشية من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كأنما الأرض تطوع له إنا لنجد أنفسنا وإنه لغير مختلف. We read this hadith before, but we'll read it again. Inshallah, it's okay.
Abu Hurairah said, I have not seen anything more beautiful than Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The sun seemed to shine in his face, nor have I seen anyone more rapid in his gait than Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The earth seemed to be folded up for him. We must strenuously exert ourselves while he is not a subject of any stress.
This was one of his miracles, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why he stayed behind. We talked about this before, right? Please don't hesitate if you see me going fast or something. If you have a question, don't hesitate. You can raise your hand and ask it back. I trust that. Don't let anything go that you want to be informed of that, right? Chapter on stuff. This is the Prophet has a distinct way of walking. He walks with one foot fully, and then the other foot fully, and then the other foot fully, and the other foot fully, right? So it was a very distinctive way of walking. Chapter on the bandana of the Prophet. That's what it was. It says, how did it translate it in your book? Head cover. So when we said before, when he oiled his hair, he put a piece of cloth, he covers it so his hair cannot be subject to dust. That's what it is. The Prophet is the same. Man kana lahu sha'run falyukrimhu. Man kana lahu sha'run falyukrimhu. Whoever has a hair, then let him take care of it. So take care of your hair. right? Make sure you don't do those products that are too chemical stuff that will, make you age before time, right? Make you lose your hair, right? But at the same time, you be careful you take care of it. Take care of it means if you're going to make it long, then you make sure to take care of it. If you're going to, shorten it, then you make sure to take care of it, right? باب ما جاء في جلسة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. حدثنا عبد بن حميد حدثنا عفان بن مسلم حدثنا عبد الله بن حسان الجدتي عن قيلة بنت مخرمة انها رأت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بالمسجد وهو قاعد وقف قالت فلما رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم متخشعا في جلسته فوعدت من الفرق.
On the authority of Abdullah ibn Hassan, on the authority of his grandmothers, Kayla bint Makrama said that she saw Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the mosque squatting on his heels. She said, when I saw Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam displaying humility in the mosque, I trembled with fright.
The Prophet when he sits sitting like a servant. He sits like this most of the time in the masjid. He sits like this. It's like this. It's like this with his companions. Sometimes with his companions he lays down to Allah. I don't want this to go anywhere. Just if you keep it to yourself, okay? Inshallah. He sits, he lays down in the masjid, he goes lay down in the masjid like this, and the Sahaba are surrounding him because they do the same. This is how they sit, this is normal. It's not lack of adab, he's extending his feet. No. Prophet said the way they use this is the culture of his time, right? This is the habit. Right? Imam Shafi'i rahmatullahi ta'ala speaks about أن الشريعة أتت بمعهود الأميين. That came with the habits of the illiterate people at that time. Their habits, their manners. Right? He would sit down in the masjid sometimes if he's by himself and just people are just hanging out. He would lay down on his back and his one foot is on the other foot. Right? Lay down on his back and his foot is on the other foot. They used to do that in the masjid. They used to hang out in the masjid in that way. But that's because he's ready to serve. It's easy to stand up and so on. They used to have him a place where they used to put a little bench for him, close to the house of Sayyidina Aisha. There was a little bench, close to a pillar in there. That pillar is called Mustawana Sadir, the pillar of the bench, right, where he used to sit down in there and hang out sometimes. When people would be around him, and so he would sit down on a bench all the time. But normally just sit down on the ground and he was what people don't understand about the Prophet, he was low key. He was not a high maintenance. The Prophet was not high maintenance. He had to do this for him, he had to do that. It was easy going so on. Life goes easy. Yes.
I have a question about, was he careful about his feet and where it was pointing? Like, I hear people say don't point towards the Kaaba, things like that.
I don't think that was something that was really prevalent at that time, something that was like really, said within the way, that much of that etiquette and manners developed later. And it's a good one, it's not bad. It's a good one. One has to be aware of those things. But at the time of the Prophet, they were themselves. They were Arabs who had their habits, and the Prophet did not intrude too much on the habits if they were not bad habits. Right? He kept them the way they are because they were not highly cultivated. They were not highly cultivated. So they became cultivated later on. And to ensure the short period that he spent with them, to change every single thing about them. But now, after that, there's a lot of iman and khair and goodness and so on and so forth that develop in certain ways. People have to take that into consideration. But it doesn't mean that whatever the Prophet didn't do, he didn't do. The Prophet didn't do all the good things. You know what I mean? All the khair. So he left a lot of things for us to figure out. Right? And that's important to pay attention to. Yeah.
Why did she tremble with fright?
There is a hadith on this, it's a long hadith, right? She was not expecting to see the Prophet. She came in, the moment she got into the masjid, the first thing she saw the Prophet sitting the way like this, doing dhikr, in a state of khushu'. Doing this dhikr, in a state of khushu', and she was awestruck. That's the word, not trembling. She was awestruck, right? She was awestruck to the point that she was trembling. Or her heart was she was awestruck, right? And we said before that, so the hadith goes on to say that the companions around her felt that she was awestruck. She felt that she was. They told about Rasulullah. She got awestruck. She was fearful. She returned to her and said, "Alayki sakinatu ya miskina fasakinat." He said, "May Allah grant you tranquility, O you miskina." And she said, "And I felt tranquility." Right? So when you see him, all of a sudden you can help but have that awe in your heart. You know what I mean? Just that majesty that comes to your heart that overwhelms you. But then you get to know him and he talks to you and so on, and then you can't help but love him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay, so next chapter inshallah. باب ما جاء في تركة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. حدثنا عباس بن محمد الدوري والبغدادي حدثنا اسحاق بن منصور عن اسرائيل عن سماك بن حرب عن جابر بن سمرة ترك رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم متكئا على وسادة على يساره. I see the Prophet Muslim laying down on a pillow on his left. He's sleeping on his side, laying down on his side, and people are around him. If you go to places like Mauritania, for example, right now, right? And the scholar teaching his class on the desert for sitting in the mahdarat and so, how is the scholar sitting? He's not sitting on a chair like this and so. He's laying down, and a tea close to him, right? And probably he's feeding the camel. I'm serious. Right? And he's feeding the camel and he's on his side, laying down in funny. Right? You can't say it's just like this is he's going like this. Go like this. And the book is read to him, is going like this. There's a pillow around and he's just going like this. Come on, read Khalid to me. Or he's reading Khalid and commenting, he's doing this. This is how he says the whole thing like this. Right? So these are habits and traditions. For us, you have to sit in a certain way and so on. You go to Syria, it's another story. You go to Morocco, it's another story. How they sit down and how they it just matters of how the tradition becomes surrounded with etiquettes and manners, and so how they develop in certain places, and how in certain places they stayed simple, right? It's very simple. People are there, So the Prophet would come in. The Prophet would sit down with his friends as they used to sit. He sat down like this with them because they're all hanging out like this and they're talking. Some of them talk about food, and some of them talk about this, and some of them talk about that. When somebody makes a joke, he laughs with them, and he does not impose his will on them. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He doesn't say, "I'm the Prophet, you guys take not." Relax, everybody relax. They laugh, they joke, they talk. There is mercy, there is rahmah, there is no backbiting, there is no. But at the end of the day, they are themselves. We talk about Jahiliyyah, what happened to them in Jahiliyyah. I was drunk one day, this is what happened to me, this is what happened to Shamail. They all laugh and he laughs. I'm serious, that's how it was. Right? This is how it was. Anybody who tells you otherwise, they're not reading the Seerah. Right? They're not reading the Seerah, they're reading. This is how it was with the Prophet. He's going. Yes, he's going.
Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh, I just wanted to ask you, is it true that as we sit, we're not supposed to have just our left hand back, like behind our backs? Because I think this is the style of how the Yehudi used to sit at the time. So it's like if we're sitting with our legs crossed, with just the left hand back, is that correct?
That I'm not. Is it in the prayer or at any time?
No, just like sitting on the floor.
No.
No.
So I'm not. I didn't know where. I didn't know. Is there? Whoever told you this? They brought it somewhere. Like, is any proof for it? Is there any? Did you mention anything related to it?
They said it was part of the sunnah, and I think I'm just paraphrasing here, but I think they mentioned Bukhari, but they said as your legs are crossed, we can have the right hand back, but not the left hand solely by itself.
That I didn't get.
Like your legs are crossed.
Legs are crossed. Okay.
Yeah, legs are crossed. Yeah, like this.
Okay.
Just that left hand there.
Oh, it's not doing that.
Yeah.
Not doing that.
Yeah. Is that true?
It's actually like this, and then you have your hand like
God.
this. You used to sit. That's the part that was critical. That they
This.
used to sit like this with the one hand.
This is a prayer.
Not necessarily in the prayer.
Listen, this is a prayer. That's some serious dua from the Prophet against somebody who does it. This. Right? But other than that, Prophet sat in a very low-key, he sat in multiple ways and so on and so forth. Easy going, no conditions, no, seriously. Like, you see, these are all hadith that tell us about how he is to sit. See, here it is. So I've seen the Prophet in here, and there's a pillow, and he's laying down on the pillow like this. The pillow is inside, he's laying down on the same. حدثنا حميد بن مسعد حدثنا بشر المفضلين نعم the couch that we have right now, so we just hang out. Hang out and حدثنا حميد بن مسعد حدثنا بشر المفضل حدثنا الجريري عن الرحمن بن ابي بكر عن ابي قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الا احدثكم باكبر الكبائر قالوا بلى يا رسول الله قال الاشراك بالله وعقوق الوالدين وقال وجلس رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم جلس رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وكان متكئا قالوا شهادة الزور أو قول الزور قال فما زال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول حتى قلنا لسانه ساكت. Yes.
I have a question about this note on the scholars have said 4 things are from the Sunnah should not be refused.
Yes.
And it mentions the milk and the meat, and there's a lot of like dietary trends going on now where they're saying like milk is bad for you, gluten-free, dairy-free, all these things. And aside from like allergy reasons, should you be encouraging people to stay away from these things if this is from the Sunnah too?
What are the 7 things that you mentioned?
Meat and milk.
Yeah. 4 things should not be so.
Yeah, there's
milk,
perfume and dishes too.
perfume, pillows, milk. This hadith will come back to it. This hadith just like that will come back to it. I said this is one. We're talking about perfume. And I will comment on it, inshallah. Can we read this hadith?
On the authority of Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakr, that his father said, Allah's Messenger.
Abu Bakr, there's some hadith narrated from Abu Bakr, it's very funny. Hadith Bukhari, by the way. It's all right in Bukhari. Abu Bakr came late one day to the prayer. Now Abu Bakr came late to the prayer one day, and he found the Prophet. Imagine that Abu Bakr just came in here, the Prophet is praying in here. He just came in here, and then the Prophet listens to Allah Akbar and he's making ruku'. So Abu Bakr made the ruku' right there. He walks on his ruku'. What is his ruku'? Walks until he got to the stuff, and then he continued his prayer. Now, mind you, the Prophet used to have full perception of what behind him. So one of his Hassan sallallahu alayhi wa sallam كان يرى من خلفه كما يرى من في الأمام. He used to perceive what goes on behind him exactly just like what he sees in front of him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So when he finished the prayer, he turned and said, Abu Bakr, what did you do? He said, oh, Rasulullah, I didn't want the rak'ah I don't want to miss the rak'ah. I don't want to miss the rak'ah. He said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ذَلِكَ اللَّهُ حِصًا, may Allah ta'ala make you more scrupulous, but don't do it again. Whatever you reach, you come walking nicely, and whatever you reach, don't run. Whatever you reach, you reach. Whatever you don't reach, that's again. I said, Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala.
How imagine we all just did that all the time.
I know.
Just walk.
You have people hitting their heads. Spotting their heads in the middle of the road. They need to have a policeman in there to direct traffic. Especially in Jum'ah, because it really comes late. Okay, so can you? This is a very important hadith here. Yes.
So like in salat, sometimes like in the masjid, sometimes when people are filling in the gaps, the salah will have started. So like I know some people, their hands will be here and they'll walk forward, filling the gaps. Is it better to not do that?
Yeah. If the movement is too much, you will break your prayer. So if there's like a step or two, it's not a big deal. But if you have to go, like you have to travel, Allahu Akbar, and you keep on going and going, this doesn't happen in how. Keep on going and going. What type of prayer is this? When do you get to pray? When you just read one gap to another gap to another gap to another gap. When do you get to pray? We get to pay attention to what he's saying. So, it is what it is. Yes.
In the Salah, some people like to connect the toes.
Yeah.
What's the reason?
There are hadith about it. Period.
So is it good to do it?
And it's good to do it because there are hadith about it. Sahaba did it. Right? And I know that some Madahib may say, no, just keep your feet yours close to you, and that's it. But the reality is, what do you do with the hadith? You can show me. Like, what do you do with the hadith? So one has to, especially with the road, the Prophet used. What? The one thing that people don't understand is that the sunnah the Prophet used to do is to make sure. So imagine that the Prophet, before he prays, he appoints everybody. So he appoints somebody at the end of the road to make sure that the roads are straight. So the person walks the whole row, putting the chest on the chest of the men to make sure that they're all straight. Every row. And the Prophet would do it for the first row. He would go on to make sure that the row is okay, and then he prays. So it was. You understand what I mean? This is how it was.
You mean they didn't have carpets with straight?
They didn't have carpets. They did with the shoes. They didn't have carpets. They prayed with the shoes on, right? They prayed with the shoes on, but nonetheless, they told them to get close to each other. To get closer to each other. Now there is a fifth Adam between you and your friend, right? 6 feet, right? And why? Because I want to. No, you get close to each other, shoulders to shoulders. Yes.
Adding a question, adding on that. During Ramadan, obviously, like during Tarawih, it's like very chaotic. The masjid that I've been to, they designate people. They designate people at the masjid during Ramadan to move people during the salah. Like
during the salah.
Yeah, like foot to foot, shoulder to shoulder, like, and people trying to fill in the gaps, and if someone moves, like they move, it's a whole thing. How would, so I'm guessing that would be considered wrong, and like how would you navigate that? Like,
so while you're praying, somebody pushes you to so some people will they come and start pushing you to.
Like their job during Tarawih is to do that.
While they're praying, all they said Allah Akbar, and they just like, it's your my role. I get paid to push people. And I apply.
It's not that good.
Stuff is important, and making the stuff is important. And the scholars that spoke about a person who prayed separated a lot from people by themselves, But mostly these small gaps, it's okay. And mostly if you pray, you start praying. That's it. Start praying. There's a step that you're going. There's a gap that you're going to feel by making one step. That's fine. Other than that, other than that, keep on moving from one place to another place. And while you're praying, you're moving people. I'm sorry. There is leeway in the nafila. You need to understand one thing. In the nafila, there's a lot of leeway. You know what I mean? In the nafila, there's a lot of leeway in the nafila. People don't understand that there's a lot of leeway in the nafila. The nafila is not as tight as the fard. You guys with me? So it is important that but not to that extent. It's still prayer. Right? It's still prayer. So the Prophet prayed on the camel, for example. He's now actually prayed on the camel when he was traveling. He prayed not toward the Kaaba, right? He prayed whatever his camel went, right? So there are three ways when it comes to not obligatory prayers, but not to the extent where while you're praying, you're moving people. No, sorry, it destroys your prayer. Much movement, too much. If you move a lot, like you scratch, it's makruh to the point where it becomes too much. Your prayer is not. You're people like that. People are cracking their toes while they're praying, cracking their toes, right? You gotta do your prayers if you keep on cracking your toes. I'm serious. I got a person in prayers in Tarawih who always crack his jokes behind me. He gets me thrown out every day. And I didn't tell him that. So imagine he's up for a few years right now. Cracks his jokes all the time behind me. Every time I'm praying in the street, and I'm OCD, you know what I mean?
Sheikh, the other time I was working with a volunteer at the masjid. So the sisters, the masjid was full, and they have gap, and we don't move close each other. Some sisters they don't allow that they don't move for the shoulders to keep the other one. So is
That's a welcome, sister. They tell them after when the prayer finishes, they tell them, while you're praying, don't get during the prayer. إن في الصلاة لشغلا. He's asking you to say, إن في الصلاة لشغلا. In your prayer, there is busyness. You're busy. You're busy with your prayer. You're not, you know, if there's something that you can correct here and there easily yourself, that's fine. You know, the person who's close to me, there's a gap between us, but he's close to me to the point where I can grab him, make him close to me, grab him close to me. That's it. Right? But I'm not, I can't push people here and push people there. The prayer becomes, you know, the intention is good. The intention is very good, right? But the idea that we have to pay attention to what I'm doing is filling the gap. It's a good sunnah, but me talking or me moving a lot, me doing things breaks my prayer. So you can't fix a sunnah by by doing something that nullifies your prayer. That's the idea here. Okay? And it's not, the intention is good. Alhamdulillah. That's good. Allah Ta'ala reward the people who do it for their intentions. But we have to correct. We have to do it properly. And we'll prioritize. What's the priority? What is the prayer? Inshallah. Yes. Yes, Habib.
So my question is there's a bunch of now we have a bunch of people who are close to islands and all that, and a lot of people they give fatwa, and I don't know who to trust because there's a bunch of people first of all online, and then they all have different opinions, and then on top of that there's all this next Hanafi and all that, and then who can we mainly trust?
Trust Imam Sami. Imam Sami, that's what the Imam does. You don't need to go online for this and this. Your Imam is really scholarly, studied tremendously. His understanding of religion is very deep. His understanding of religion, how it applies to these days, is really wide. And his Arabic, mashallah, is better than Arabs. So you trust your Imam. And you're blessed to have Imam Sami. You guys are blessed to have Imam Sami. He's bridging many worlds. Right? So that's what a lot of people are not. Right? This happens to all of us. No matter how much the singer of the neighborhood does not leave the neighborhood. You know, they always look for somebody else. And so even if the great singers, this is an Arab proverb. Even if the singer of the place is really great, people always look for the new. Even if it's not adequate, even so. No. Yeah, so we have to make sure that this is how Islam became strong. So Islam deepened its roots. Not by people jumping left and jumping right and jumping left and right, because tying up to your religious authority in your place. By tying up to the religious authority in your place, look at all the scholars. Imam Bukhari did not move out of Bukhara until he got all the ilm of Bukhara. Imam Tirmidhi did not get moved out of Tirmidhi until he got all the ilm of Khurasan that he moved out. And then so this is how it is, right? You rush to go all over the place, and a lot of times that rush is because of the way, because we want, it's a good question. It's because we want somebody to give us ease. We shop from the fatwas. We shop, who's going to be going with my way, with my desire? You know, if you go to Imam Sami, he's going to give it to you right away. He's going to give you that which you need. Really correct, traditional, deep, and so on. And we're not like that, right? So that's the chaos of religious authority, right? The chaos of religious authority. Now the word sheikh means everything. You know what I mean? Everybody who so one of the things that modernity did to us, and the tradition, and the modern teaching, modern schooling, and so did to us, that it destroyed the religious authority, destroyed and fractured it, and made it ambiguity out of it, right? So now we have to. Something that we teach in Tafsir that is essential is that what is the hierarchy of religious authority? Sheikh is a word that is meaningless. The word sheikh is meaningless because everybody, you call sheikh everybody. You don't know study, you don't know who did study, you don't know who specialized in what, you don't know anything. It's just you study a year or two and they become sheikh. Alhamdulillah, that's good. What's their specialty? You have no idea. What's their credentials? You have no idea. Can they give fatwa? You have no idea. So the destruction of religious authority and the destruction of Islamic institutions and scholarly institutions that produce the religious authority and make sure nobody can practice medicine in America without a license. Why? Because they protect the business, they protect the profession, right? Because there's boards that make sure that everybody who gets that license to practice, we don't have that when it comes to our imams in America, because we don't have that authority that really, right, that really makes sure that imposters will not go and people who don't have any business to give fatwa should not give fatwa, and so on and so forth. Right? So, but that's why we have to stick to that which is clear. And that which is clear is that the imams of our masajids, most of them are well trained, are trained traditionally. Some of them are better than others. Some of them have specialties in areas, but in general, they're alhamdulillah, there's goodness. So stick my son, stick to the imam of yours, stick to Imam Sami, and he's not just enough for you, he's enough for not just for caring, he's enough for North Carolina and more, right? Inshallah. So continue, inshallah.
And then his father said, Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, should I tell you about the greatest of major sins? They said, yes indeed, O Messenger of Allah. He said, associating
partners. Mind you, while he's saying this, the Prophet is laying down. He is laying down on his side, completely laying down on his side, and he's talking to them very nonchalantly, in a very nonchalant way, just easy. Do you want me to tell you about, they start talking, the issue of big sins that popped up, he said to them, do you want me to tell you what are the big sins? He's what? How he's saying that, what is the stage of him saying that? Laying down, relax, please relax. This is important in the hadith. Are you guys with me? I want you to pay attention to this one. He's laying down, easy. And then he said, shirk, still laying down and easy. And then he said, disobedience to the parents, still laying down and easy. And then the third one he says, and then before he said the third one, he sat down and he looked him in the face. He said, false testimony, 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 false testimony. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? When is he going to stop? We got it. When is he going to stop? This is exactly what the Sahaba felt. He repeated it until they said, we wished he would stop. They would never wish him to stop, ever. They never wish the Prophet to stop talking, ever. He doesn't talk a lot. When he talks, they all want him to talk more. In this one here, they said he repeated فأعادها فما زال رسول الله يقولها حتى قلنا يا ليت سكت. He keeps on repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it until we all said, we wish he stops. What made false testimony? He was laying down talking about shirk. Easy. who's laying down talking about disobedience to the parents. Easy. When it comes to false testimony, he looked up to them. He was sitting down, he became serious, he looked down so they will never forget it. And he starts saying false testimony, false testimony, false testimony, false testimony. He created an image for them that they will never forget. He created a scene for them that they will never forget. If you attended that event, you will never forget it. Why? What is it about false testimony that is, in this case in here, Prophet emphasize it more than shirk, emphasize it more than disobedience to the parent? What's going on with it? What is it about the false testimony? That's just what's it?
Or at least when I was here and you were doing that, what made me question was that you were doing it so much.
When you kept repeating it, it was kind of, when we think of like talking and speaking without knowledge, I feel like a lot of us have that experience where we do that, and I think you repeating it really nails the head on, like, for example, shirk is something that like, no one is going to argue that this is clearly wrong, but speaking without knowledge is something that we all unconsciously do. And like you putting it out there that where you're like repeating how badly of a sin it is, and we all do it so often, it really like sheds a light on like your actions and like thinking about what you're gonna say before you say it, and looking to see if that is true or not before you say it.
That's that. That is that. There's another aspect to it as well, which is that false testimony destroys the fabric upon which a human society can be gathered. If justice is not there at the core of the human gathering, then it's easy to destroy the whole society. If you don't trust the justice system that allows people to false testify, if it's easy for people to just false testify, what's going to happen to the system, justice system? Anarchy. Anarchy. Shirk is individual. It has social ramifications, but there's still a society that can be just and can still be mushrik, and people can live into it and have prosperity. Am I right? Absolutely. Right? Because justice stands at the core of the Islamic proposal to humanity for prosperity and for guidance. When injustice reigns in a society, it becomes the weak is eaten alive by the rich, by the strong. Right? Who will take your rights after that? And if justice is destroyed in a society, that society is going to be destroyed, for sure. Right? And this is why Prophet emphasizes, because it destroys the human, the core of the human gathering, the core of the human society. Right? At the core of it is justice, and it needs to be protected. Right? If somebody, so that's why the sin of false testimony is Jahannam, period. You understand what I mean? False testimony is directly to Jahannam, period. Kaba'ir, from the greatest to the kaba'ir, up there. Why? Because it destroyed that trust in society. That trust that when there is differences and when there is what's the word? When there is contention between people, when there is all that, we go to the justice system to differentiate between, to give you their right. To differentiate between the oppressor and the oppressed, and to give the oppressed its rights, and to allow society to have fairness, and to have opportunity, and so on and so on and so forth. Right? You can say whatever you want about the American system, and have a lot of injustices, but compared to where I come from, for example, it's ridiculous. People go to jail just because whatever they say is something against the king, they get so they're in jail. People are in jail for tweeting something about Gaza. I'm serious. People will love Morocco so much. Oh, Morocco is so beautiful. People are in jail because they just, right? a person I know, may Allah be with him, tweeted something against for Hassan. He was working in Qatar. Right? Grew up with this kid. Tweeted something about Hassan. He came probably, a few months after that, before this issue of Hassan started. After that, a few months after that, he came to Morocco. They picked him up in the airport, right? In 2 days, he was in jail. Extradited like the guy had I don't know what he was. It's like he planted the bomb in the king's palace. Right? His family did not know what he was. Secret Service by himself in the courtroom. 5 years. 5 years. 5 years. Right? So how do you trust this? How do you believe? How do you trust a society that allows something like this? This is justice system here. Right? And that's what Prophet said, Qadi for Jannah, Qadiyan for Nar. He said one of three judges go to Jannah, the rest is going to go to hellfire. Right? And that's why the scholars never wants to be judges. They don't want to be judges. Because, if a paper came to you from the Secret Service telling you we want this guy to go for 5 years, those laws that prevents people from, they're going to go for 5 years. Whether you're going to preserve your job or they're going to go for 5 years. And now we are in a pickle. What do you do? Right? And so many brothers, I know a brother who's came, I know him personally, 20 years. Why do we like 20 years? He just came out not long ago. 20 years. Righteous, good, the cream of the crop of society, beautiful, nice, didn't do anything wrong, no whatsoever. But, and so on. Now imagine a society like this. Imagine a society like this where and there's a lot of injustice in America too. When you get to vote for your judge, right? When you get to sponsor your judge to be your, you get to vote for them. Imagine how could this be impartial to those who helped him voting, help him voting? Look at the Supreme Court right now. They're discussing what's going on in the Supreme Court. Discussing the immunity of Trump. They appointed 4 of them. Right? They appointed 4 of them. They appointed the Garland, they appointed they appointed the guy from Yale. I forgot what his name. Kavanaugh. He appointed the lady, what's her name? Are you following or I'm just talking to myself? You should be following, this is important. This is important. Say, I'm not into politics. No, you're not into politics. You're just a subject into receiving. You're not paying attention. You got to be. There is nobody into politics. You are going to be crushed by it if you don't pay attention. The moment you go to the pump and you start pumping, you're into politics. That's a political act in here. You go to pump, when you go pump, that's a political act. There's nobody who's immune from politics. Who say, Sheikh Mashallah is not into politics. The moment you take a position saying, I don't want to get involved in politics, that's a political statement. That's a political action. You're moving out of a field and you're allowing the wretched to take care of it. You understand what I mean? That's what we do. That's what we do when we're not getting involved in changing the realities around us, one way or another. We vacate the place and we allow the wretched people to deal with it, to take it. So I wanted to, how did we get this? So, how did we get this? We made an exit and
false speech,
false testimony,
society,
false testimony. It has at the core of the human gathering. You pay attention. You pay attention to what's going on. Right? So how could these people, vote? They're not. Of course, it's like Garland. I read some of the stuff before yesterday saying, Garland is saying, he has a case. So he has a case. Of course, he has a case with you. He appointed you. Why would he? Right? Why would he have a case? He's out of the state. He's out of his job. He's a citizen. What kind of immunity is if he creates havoc in the country? Why would he get held accountable for it? He shouldn't have been held accountable for it. Absolutely. Right? But look at what money and power does. He said, I can kill somebody in Fifth Avenue and the 12 and midday with billions of people can see him, and he will get out of it. Of course, this is a system that can be bought, a system that can be, right? You have no idea how many people are in jail because they did not pay a fine of $50. And this is something that should concern us as Muslims as well. We should be part of making things better. You understand what I mean? This is extremely important to pay attention to this, right? So,
sorry, one question.
Yeah.
In regards to testimony, I just want to, like, with the justice system here, because it's not Islamic courts, like, does that have the same ruling in terms of, because sometimes Muslims manipulate this, I'm saying it's not Islamic anyway, so they might make a false testimony, so is that
this is the worst. I'll give you an example. Right? This is the worst. You made an excellent point. An excellent point. When people say, you know what, this is just like what Allah Ta'ala denounced people who says, ومن أهل الكتاب من يتعامل بالقرآن يوديه إليك ومنهم من يتعامل بدينار لا يوديه إليك إلا من كنت عليه قائما ذلك بأنهم قالوا ليس علينا في الأميين سبيل ويقولون على الله كذبا وهم يعلمون بلى من أوفى بعهده واتقى فإن الله يحب المتقين. Look at this verse right at the last fourth of the hizb of لن تنالوا, right at the beginning of Al-Imran. When Allah says, some of the people in the books, meaning the Jews in here, the Jewish people, if you trust them with 100 kilo of gold, they will deliver it to you. If you trust them with it, they will give it back to you. They're trustworthy, right? And some of them, if you trust them with one coin, right, they will not give it to you unless you are standing up on them day in and day out, then they might give it to you. Because they said the Goyim, the Goyim are the what's the Goyim? How do you translate that?
The non-Jews.
The non-Jews, because the non-Jews are fair game. They said, well, I say this, I'm translating the verse. Because they said the non-Jews are fair game. ليس علينا في الأميين سبيل. We can do whatever we want to do. We can lie to them, we can cheat them, we can false testimoniate them, we can do whatever we want. We can steal from them, we can do whatever. As long as they are not Jews, we can do whatever to them. So Allah is denouncing them. ذلك أنهم قالوا ليس علينا في الأميين سبيل ويقولون على الله كذبا. And this is a false. They say that this is from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and this is utterly false. They ascribe this to Allah Ta'ala, and it's utterly false, right? ويقول الله كذبا وهم يعلمون. They know that. They know that it's utterly false. You cannot bifurcate and divide taqwa. If you have taqwa, you can never divide it. Oh, all these people are going to do taqwa with, and these people are not going to do taqwa with. I can be wretched with these people and lie to them and cheat them, and I can be good with these people and say, how does it work? I mean, how does it work? You understand what I mean? Taqwa is taqwa. With the believer, with the non-believer. At the time where it's Muslim or non-Muslim. Taqwa even against ourselves. يا الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط على أنفسكم. Be tested, have testimony of truth, even if it's against yourself, even if it's against your parents, or and close-knit people. This is what Allah says, clear. And it's sad, because what He said is prevalent. People cheat on their taxes, for example. They cheat on the taxes, like, well, the tax evasion, that's all the lies that I tell them. They cheat on applying for Section 8 and so on. So they're rich. You know, they drive. They used to know people who do that. And so you drive cab, they make $0 at that time. Now it's different. Uber killed them. At that time, it's $0, and he goes to Texas and he's like, I don't have it. So he got help with the heat. He got help with the electricity. He got help with and he's taking the place of somebody who needs it. He takes the place of somebody who really needs it. An orphan, a widow with 7 kids, with 3 kids, with 4 kids. And the guy is having tremendous amounts of money. They make a lot of money. I know people who made a lot of money. Houses in Morocco and this and that. And they cheat. They cheat. You can't, choosing to make the system work for you is another story. There's certain areas where one has to, but in general, one should have taqwa. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? When you start, when you go that path, where do you draw the line? Right? You can't divide taqwa. Right? You can't divide taqwa. I had a friend. Sorry, I wanted to go further, but I had a friend. May Allah Ta'ala preserve. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. Again, some people get some misunderstanding like this. They hear stuff and they start acting on this like this. So I lived with him for some time. Here in America, right? Get to know him in America, right? So the friend, who's otherwise good, wakes up from the end, he does his dhikr, he's a good person, he's a really good person. But he gets some ideas like this, right? What does he do? He's about to go to Morocco to visit his family and so on. So spend a month or two and so on and so forth, right? So he goes to buy gifts for people. He's going to go buy gifts for people, right? We go to the shop. So he changes a very, very expensive shoe, right, from its box and put it in a box of the shoe always cheap. And he passed it by the teller, and if the teller caught it, when he caught it, he doesn't caught it, and he got the shoe that is so with the lesson. And I said, you understand me? You don't intend to buy the suit, but you know that you can return the suit in 3 days. You go, you get the suit, you go to your wedding or whatever, and then bring it back. You have no intention to buy it. I'm sorry. That's cheating. That is cheating. Where do you stop with your taqwa? What is your wara? What is your wara? What is the abstinence? What is the gray area that you make so wide between you and the haram? You make a gray area of the halal that you don't touch because it's too close to the haram. Because they make you get closer to the haram. What is that? You see where spirituality matters. This is what spirituality is. Spirituality is not just when you sit down and do thousands or 2,000, 10,000 to la ilaha illallah. It's in these details in here. It's in details in here. When you abstain at the time where you abstain. You go by the teller, he gives you a change of $50, but in fact, he only gave you $10. And you take it, and you go. You go by, you realize, oh, the teller did not ring that, whatever he bought. He ran 20, but he had 25 or 22 items that she didn't ring out of rush or whatever. And then you go, oh, good, alhamdulillah. You go back and you say, you didn't bring this. I'm sorry, I'm not eating haram. I'm not using haram. Forgive me. This is the Muslim, this is how the Prophet told us to be shamas and bayyanas. Right? We're elevated with we can't have other people better than us in this akhlaq. We can't. Are you getting me? We cannot have the Jehovah Witness better than us. Yeah, Jehovah Witness are top line ethics and morality. See what everyone but their theology. They're better than us. Well, go and check. Read. Don't cheat. You hire somebody from Jehovah Witness as a carpenter or as whatever, and you know you're going to get the best top line thing. Most of the time, that's how it works. Most of the time, that's how it is. Why are we not I hired a Muslim, he killed it, mashallah. And we are the people who are the people that people point to for integrity and excellence and goodness and so on. So many people become Muslim because of the integrity of another Muslim. Of a Muslim who they met with and they were great, and a cab driver got a box or something, jewelry or a ring that is too expensive, or a laptop or something like that, and he looked for that guy for months to give them their thing, and they did not know, even though they have no idea what's in that wallet. They look. And so many people become Muslim because I know a brother in the cab that a lady became Muslim because of it. Seriously. So what's coming up with us? That we have to be second, third in line when it comes to the integrity in here. This is what the Prophet is speaking about. This is what's about. So you can't divide and bifurcate morality. You can't. Morality is morality. Good. What's good? Lying is lying all over the world. Whoever is in front of you, it is lying. Cheating is cheating. Whoever is doing it to. It doesn't change name. It doesn't change character. Right? Is it clear? Sheikh, we stop. Is it time or?
We have 4 more minutes.
4 minutes. We can read. Yes, you're right.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
In Arabic, it says وَشَهْدُ الزُّورِ.
Yeah.
What is that?
Shahadat al-zur.
Yeah. What is that?
False testimony. Zur is false. Zur is one of the strongest way, or one of the strongest word for falsehood.
So it's stronger than kadhib.
Stronger than kadhib. Right? Falsehood is zur.
I have one question.
Yeah.
If false testimony is applied to the legal system or the criminal system,
Put the mic close to your mouth.
he repeated it so many times,
Yeah.
like it was applicable in every person's life. So I didn't quite get the connection between, the application of that false testimony just for the legal system and with the common man.
No, in all situations of our life, sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes we testify to things that are small in here. Small in our lives between husband and wife, between this and that, and so on and so forth. I have to be very careful not to. False testimony is the highest form of lying. It's the highest form of lying. It has many ramifications, but it doesn't have just to do with the justice system. It has to do with the lives of people. Anytime you testify to somebody who's not good, that they're good. You write a recommendation letter. You know what I mean? You testify to somebody who's not good, that they're good. Or testify to somebody who's good, that they're not good. Or you magnify people's defects if you don't like them because you don't like them while people asking you. Somebody can come to you to ask you about, my son wants to marry the girl of such, and your daughter knows her, or such and so. But you know that the girl is good, but you don't like the mother. And he said, "Nah, they're not good people." And that's false testimony. You know that they're good people. You know that they're good people. You may not like them. We all have people have liking and not liking, but they're still good people, right? That's false testimony, right there. So it doesn't have to be just a system. It doesn't have to be from the court, right? It's not Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
Straight one more question, I guess. Do we have a control over our thoughts, or whatever we choose, or basically we choose from the predefined set of thoughts decreed for us?
I didn't get your question. Repeat it, please.
So, the preamble of this question, let's go to the story of what happened to your friend in Qatar. So, what happened to him was decreed for him, and it was a will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it was basically what he did in his life, he got into the situation. And that's the question, is that what we think in our life, do we have a control over our thoughts, or we choose from the predefined set of thoughts which have been decreed for us?
Yeah, nothing. So, here's another issue. Nothing evades the qadar of Allah. Right? You don't do anything that is, so you choose from that precept, from those choices that Allah Ta'ala has. You know, Allah knows what you're going to choose. Right? So it's not that whatever you're thinking, Allah Ta'ala has put you into the situation that creates that situation for you with all what the situation has. Right? And though that situation provided for you the thoughts, provided for you the thoughts and the set of thoughts that you're going to choose from according to your education, according to your upbringing, according to your social strata, according to what's around you, and you make that decision. And yes, it was the brother who made that decision. He made that decision for sure, right? Qadar of Allah Ta'ala is beyond anybody, and so on and so forth. But still, what we pay attention to in here, we can't hang in everything in the Qadar of Allah. We have to look at it with 2 eyes. Whatever we do, we have to look at it with 2 eyes, not just 1 eye. The eye of the Qadar grants us taslim. Taslim is like you say, Allah Ta'ala prescribed this upon me, I'm gonna submit to it. The second thing, the other eye that we're going to look at what is the Sharia asking me to do in this condition? So you look at things from the eye of the decree. Allah Ta'ala put this set of ideas in front of me, a set of thoughts and so and so. But what is the Sharia asking me to do in here? How do I go about it? How do I so and so? What the choice that I make has to be informed with something. Okay, so if I have Allah Ta'ala put in front of me 10 choices, then what is the criteria of me choosing in here? When I choose, how do I get held accountable for it or not? Right? So the Sharia you have to look at things at the eye of Tawheed, and the eye of submission to Allah Ta'ala, and the other eye of the Sharia. What is the Sharia asking me to do in here? Because if you look at things quickly from the Sharia, from the Qadar point of view, right, will become what's the word? There is a word for it. Predeterminist. So Jabriya, become Jabriya. Jabriya is like a predetermined, like Allah chooses everything for me and I have nothing to do with it and so. Then if Allah has chosen everything for you, why is